battle for Middle-earth is about to begin.
So it begins.
Send these foul beasts into the abyss!
Welcome to the Zorpazorp Battle Games in Middle-earth livestream. In this series, we cast our gaze back in time to the roots of our beloved Middle-earth strategy battle game to explore the fortnightly magazine serial Battle Games in Middle-earth. Each episode, we will delve into a single issue, poring over a treasure trove of retro gaming, following in-depth painting guides, terrain tutorials, and some crazy battle reports, all with a modern twist so you guys can enjoy them in your games at home. With each installment, we'll also focus on a release of models that accompanied the magazine, following their journey from painting bench to tabletop, and then at the end of every live stream, they'll be randomly assigned to one of our loyal Patreons to continue their days of gaming abroad, spreading the gospel of Zorpazorp. So, in the immortal words of the magazine itself, let battle commence. Welcome to Zorpazorp Gaming, my name's Lachlan Linton Keane and welcome to the 19th Battle Games in Middle-earth live stream. We have a fantastic installment today where we're diving all into some Rohan action, and I cannot believe we are nearly up to 20 live streams. So thank you to everyone who's joining me all around the world. If this is your first time joining, this series is all about the early 2000s part work, Lord of the Rings Battle Games in Middle-earth. It is a magazine series that came out fortnightly. With every magazine, you got a selection of models, and in each installment of these live streams, we will be painting up those models, painting up any terrain, and of course having an awesome battle report at the end of the stream, interactive with you guys, controlling the forces, and just basically descending into madness every stream. It's going to be fantastic. And each of those models, each of those selection of models that we paint up each week will be given away and assigned to one of our Patreon supporters as their official kind of campaign supporter in the overall Battle Games in Middle-earth experience, which is really awesome. And we've seen a whole bunch of fantastic models get painted up and be assigned and have some pretty interesting journeys. Aragorn's had a few interesting experiences. There's been some pretty murderous goblins killing him a couple of times, and yeah, we've got Terry the Troll and some famous characters. Today we're finishing off the Riders of Rohan. We looked at their horses, which was last fortnight now, and we've got to finish off the riders now as well, which is great, right? Rohan, it's perfect. It's the time of Rohan. Aomer, of course, just got announced that he went up on pre-order yesterday, so everyone's feeling a bit of a Rohan vibe, which is a new and different feeling for all of us over the last 2 years. And so we're going to do some Riders of Rohan, and then we're doing something a little bit different for our battle report today. The battle report that is in the issue that we are doing, which is issue 14. Believe it or not, we're in issue 14 in the 19th installment. It's because we went a bit off course for a while, but we're back on track now. The battle report in here, it's a little dull, so we're doing something a little bit more amazing. Oh yes, Ezekiel says we shouldn't forget Steve the Belrog as one of the incredible characters. So we're going to be doing, you guys might be able to see behind me. Here, I'll see if I can get my head out of the way and give it a bit more light. Well, I can't do the light, but my head's out of the way. You can see my painting chest, but behind that is the Pelennor Fields gaming board, or at least the center of it. It's a 6x8 gaming board. We won't be quite using all of that today. I've got 4x4 sitting behind me, covered with Rohan corpses, and we're going to do a bit of a Pelennor Fields themed battle report, because part of that is a lot of these early magazines are confined in what they can use in the battle reports by what models you have. and we, of course, you know, have played with those models a fair bit, so we don't want to be seeing the same thing every time. So I thought it'd be fun to spice it up. AM is released. We'll do a bit of a Pelennor Fields thing. Also, we just finished filming the next big kind of Lord of the Rings battle report on the channel. We're sort of launching our new campaign this week, which is going to be very, very exciting. I cannot wait to sort of dive properly back into Middle-earth here on the channel. We have got a ripper. So we were filming that earlier last week, which means the Pelennor Fields board was at my house instead of in storage in my unit. So I was like, well, I mean, it's here. I've got to put it on the channel. Got to slap that down in the live stream. No more foam, you know, what are they, vinyl mats today. No, we're playing on real terrain. So that's going to be pretty fun. So yeah, we've got some Theoden action, we've got some Witch King action, and of course we've got some Riders of Rohan, because that is all about today's stream. We're going to be learning about cavalry. This is of course the first installment that has released any cavalry to our system in the classic retro format, and so we'll go through all their rules, and we'll paint them up, and then we'll get them on the board, and we'll hopefully smash some orcs to smithereens. I'm going to come over and say hello to the chat and see how everyone's going. Let me know if you guys are hearing me nice and loud and clear. Buck and Duck says, Riders of Rohan, what news from the Queensland? Well, actually, from the northern New South Wales now. I've moved across the border, but only by a little bit. I'm basically still Queensland. The Queensland League coordinator for Australia now lives in New South Wales. Don't tell the other guys. Alright, everyone's joining in. I need my glasses for this, crikey. Let's tune in and say hello. So, oh, Harry's here from the Northern Territory. He's our Northern Territory correspondent. What's the humidity level today, Harry? Is wet season kicking off yet? Jazz from New South Wales is tuning in. Welcome, Jazz. We've got Mito Colos joining us. Champions League final done, says Ben. Time to watch some MESBG. Who was in the Champions League final this year? I have not followed any football for like a long time. Johnny Russell's joining us from Scotland. Oh, cool. Mito Cola's already been working on some Rohan and Rohan Warriors this week. What are you guys painting this week? Are you painting along some Rohan with me, or are you got anything else on your little painting palette there? Darren McWilliams, our coordinator. Well, I can't speak this morning. Our correspondent from Ireland is joining us as always. Sammy Cynthia from England. We've got Renga Katterberg from the Netherlands. Hey, the Nerdshak is here live. He's usually in the comments later on. Niall from Ireland, and in general, his living room in particular. Matty Dishner is is talking about the Green Dragon podcast. Yes, it was a dangerous time. In case you guys aren't familiar, oh, I'm sure you know who the Green Dragon podcast is, but if you don't, it's like a Middle-earth SBG podcast done by some wonderful people down in Melbourne who I'm good friends with, and occasionally they drag me kicking and screaming onto the podcast, and this time we got Harry as well from the Entmoot podcast. And the three of us sort of just talked for like 4 hours, and I don't know how interesting it was to you guys, although I did go on, I wouldn't call them rants. One of them was a rant. Give Grimbold the horse, Jay. But the rest of them weren't rants. It was fine. We had the FAQ. Now, has the did we talk about the FAQ in the last stream, or has that come out since? Let me, because we will come back around to that. I can't remember if we talked about it last time. When I make my way through the comments, I'll find out and we can go back to that. So it was a good stream. It was a good little podcast. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't already. It's on the Zorpazorp Facebook page. Jeremy's posted it up there, and it was good fun. We talked all about the FAQs. We talked about just, I don't know, random stuff. But the main kind of topic of discussion was how COVID had affected our hobbying personally, and also how sort of content creation in general. Obviously, this is my job, and Harry and Jeremy both do it sort of part-time as hobbies, and a lot of people always ask us questions, so we sort of tried to answer a little bit of that in the podcast. So it was really, really fun and very self-indulgent. I enjoyed it. We've got Oddy says, good evening, newbie Patreon. He's working from the Preston, UK, working on Helmingers, converted from Men of Dale. That is cool, Oddy. Can you post up some of your photos when you're finished in the Zorpazorp Facebook community page? And anyone is welcome to. In fact, Mr. Joshua Summers right now has set up a thread in our Facebook page for anyone who's posting progress photos of what they're working on, and then I will jump in the comments at some point and have a review halfway through the stream and see how everyone's going. So if you're working on stuff, chuck it on the Facebook group. But yeah, definitely keen to see those, Odie. Ezekiel's watching us from Kansas City, Missouri. Eric from Rochester, New York. Marky Tribe from Toowoomba in Queensland. We've got David's joining us from St. Louis in MO. This is my favorite game of the morning section of the stream, is guessing the US states when you guys just put the codes. MO. Is that Missouri? We just heard Missouri. Could be MO. I mean, the other M ones, it's not going to be Michigan. That's MI. I think I'm going to go with Missouri. Let me know. This is good fun. Improves my geography. We've got Seattle in WA. Is there a Seattle in Western Australia, or is that a state code? Don't think it's a state code. That'd be... Oh, unless... Oh, Washington. I'm all over it. Eric says he loves the international aspect of these chats. Yeah, it's the best part for me. Is there are people watching right now from all over the world, which blows my mind. I don't know if we can top it, but last stream we did have someone watch from the Arctic Circle. So, you know, if we can get that diverse again. Where's next? Antarctica. I want someone watching from an Antarctic research station. Then we'll know we've made it. Harry asks, are you going to do something special for your 20th live stream, Lockie? Well, now that I've read that comment out live, I sort of have to. I hadn't planned on it, but I don't know. What I don't even know what's next, actually. We'll have to have a look. Maybe we'll have a bit of a brainstorm. You guys can let me know if you have any cool ideas. Sorry, I'm choking. What do we got here? Oh my goodness. Whoa, it just went live. Okay, well, I'm going to miss a few of you there, but good morning to everyone who I've missed. We've got Liam the Llama's in, Declan from New Zealand, Amandil Aramanth from France. Ben says he can hear us perfectly. Well, that's good, because I asked that a while ago and just kept talking without checking. Andy Marchant. Hey, Andy's joining us from Sydney. Andy will have a little moment on the stream later. He's going to be famous when I show off his wonderful siege towers. We've got... Wow, Watto's watching from the Netherlands. Hey, hello. Mr. Smart Donkey is joining us. He says, any chances your bases are coming back on stock on the website anytime soon? Yeah, sorry, they're out of stock because we've got a resin shortage at the moment. Message me on the Patreon and we'll talk about it, Mr. Donkey. Harry says the humidity is quite bad, to paraphrase. Tom Marshall and his blushing bride reporting for duty. Good morning to Tom Marshall's bride. Is it actually your wedding day, or are you guys watching on the morning of your wedding? Because that might top someone watching in the Arctic Circle. Tracosify is watching from France. Aaron says, is anyone else watching from the Melbourne area? Or anyone watching from the Melbourne area, because Aaron's not in Melbourne. We've got Rob, he's ridden all the way from Bedford in the UK. Parex just painted Aomer, fantastic. Harry says he feels like he's inside Mount Doom. Jan has just bought the box of the Pelennor Fields. Fantastic. Lots of stuff in there to keep you busy for painting. Fantastic work. We've got Manchester, UK, painting some 40k, but that's fine. He's going to paint up his original Fellowship this week. That's Hroth. And then James isn't painting anything now, but he's planning an epic paint job. Excellent. We talked FAQ last time around. Okay, good. Well, I'm not going into that again. Thank you, James. Yeah, definitely talked about the FAQ. I can't remember. My brain is mush. Give Grimbold, he says. Give Grimbold the horse, he says. Have you not had enough Rohan? It's not that I even particularly want to use him. It's just the fact that a Rohan hero, whose culture is built around horses, can't get a horse. It's just silly. I don't care if his major conflict was on foot. Restrict him to on foot in that legendary legion and give him a horse normally. Or give him a horse in the Pelennor Fields legendary legion. Anyway, Jay, we've talked about it, but he won't listen to me. Alright, where else are we going to? Hello from Suffolk, east of England. Currently time split between some Minas Tirith Knights and some Mordor Uruk-hai. I got Mordor Uruk-hai lying around. I need to paint up it sometimes. Lucky Gibbs says he loves the podcast. Fantastic work. Oh, goodness me. Reza Primex has a great question for everyone in the chat. How would you paint Golem's skin tone? He asks maybe with contrast paint. So it's a weird grey, isn't it? It's like that translucent pinky grey. If you were going to use contrast paints, you'd want to use probably a blend or some layers or highlights, but maybe Basilicanum Grey might be a useful element in the recipe. If anyone's painted Golem's skin, throw their recipe up. Oh, Montana! Damn it. I should have known. Of course it was Montana. Mo, not, yeah. No, damn. Close. That's alright. I'll get it next time. Liam appropriately observes that I've never had enough Rohan. Nick's watching from Denmark. We've got, cool. Rattel Mike is painting up dismounted Riders of Rohan. Yes, really the only use for foot warriors. I mean, Helm Legendary Legion is not too bad now. First Middle-earth figures for 10 months, says Keeley. He's painting Mordor Heroes and Men of Khan. We've got Reform the Line watching from UK Preston. James Kelty's watching in Exeter from the southwest UK. And I'm almost caught up. Gyro Gonzalez Arroyo, hello my friend, he's watching, it's just gone past midnight where he's watching from. Mandalore says, we're from the States, and most of the time we don't even know what the state code means. Jazz says, it sucks here in Melbourne. Oh, yeah, Jazz, you're in Melbourne, aren't you? Not Sydney, my bad. Tom says, no, the wedding was supposed to be in April, but then a bat happened, and now the wedding is next November. It's the exact same thing that happened to me. I was meant to get married, like, last stream, actually. And we've moved that to September next year. Hopefully that goes ahead. We'll have to wait and see. Lancaster UK for James Rathorn painting some warriors since he ordered AMA today. Well, that's good. I'm basically painting Rohan warriors. It's pretty much the same. And then we've got... oh cool, we've got Spike Johnson is waking up in Melbourne in time to start work. I'm sure this won't be distracting. I hope I don't make you late. Yeah, apologies to all the Aussies, it's a bit early. It's not as bad as normal though. Nothing will beat you butchering my name, says Niall. Yeah, it was a special moment forever on the stream. Okay, cool, we're almost caught up now. Oh, Ezekiel says MO is Missouri. Mandalore, are you trolling me? Don't destabilize my limited American geography knowledge. Nick says, am I going to paint the new AMA? Yes, if Games Workshop sends it to me. We'll have to wait and see. It should have arrived by now. It has not yet. Tom says, you and the family are invited to the wedding. Fantastic. We'll have to make the trip down. And Dalton is tuning in from Ohio. Just got done playing some Necromunda. Oh, Will's watching from Cumbria. I've been watching lots of videos on Cumbria lately over on a wonderful channel called Simon Roper. If any of you guys are into linguistics or Cumbrian in general, definitely worth checking out. Lovely lad. And Reform the Line is excited for some Rohan. So, this guy. Let's flip the camera around, and we'll go and start diving into issue number 14 of the Battle Games in Middle-earth. I'll be back in literally 30 seconds. Oh no, I won't, because I haven't prepared my holding screen footage. Let's move that into there. Splendid. Alright, back in just a second. Alright, we're back. Sorry, that was the longest 30 seconds ever. I forgot that I hadn't set up the other tripod because I'm very organized this morning. Issue number 14, the Riders of Rohan. We've got a pretty awesome little issue today because we are diving into cavalry. Look at that, there's some really nice shots through this magazine here. Obviously we've got some cool kind of Royal Guardy stuff on the front, which I do think it's hilarious because it's all about the Riders of Rohan, but they keep showing Royal Guard. But we'll get one of them eventually in this stream. Oh, that's a good point. I need to source that model. We're learning today all about cavalry. Let me whip this phone over here so I can make sure I stay on top of the chat while I'm over in this screen. 113 of you joining us today. That is absolutely mental. That chat is not live. Where's my live chat gone? Live chat. There you all are. That's better. Floey says, so, the new AM model. Yeah, we won't go there. Let's have a look at cavalry. Now, I haven't done sort of any heavy pre-reading, so I wonder how much cavalry has changed. I think it's basically the same. Obviously, cavalry is a rider of Rohan and a horse in this instance, so it's a rider and a mount. We've got cavalry on the move phase. Ooh! Oh, no, it's still the same. So, cavalry move quarter speed through difficult terrain as opposed to half speed. We've got an interesting picture here with the Rider of Rohan dismounted. I think that just represents... Oh, wow. That's very cool. So in this early edition, you can actually dismount the rider to lead them through the lead them through the terrain. Very cool. Barriers and obstacles look like they're exactly the same. So Rohan horses are approximately 2 inch tall. Any barriers between half and double a horse's height are counted as obstacle and must be jumped. That's exactly the same. The jumping test is the same. However, remember to reduce the dice result by -1 if the object is taller or wider than the mount's height. That is a new rule. So you make a roll on the jump test and then you reduce it by 1. You can, yeah, geez, that makes it a lot more likely to roll a 1. And if you do roll a 1, you have to throw the roll on the Throne Rider table, which is the same. You roll on, you get knocked flying and take some damage. We've got magical powers and targeting them, line of sight. It's basically all the same. And then, of course, mounting and dismounting. Yes, in this edition of SBG, you can remount your horses. Which means that the horses must not instantly flee like they do. I think that you can sort of you can remove them, but you don't have to. In most situations, we're not concerned with loose mounts, so they just remove them. But you can choose to leave them and then try and remount. Because, of course, this was all about scenarios back in this day. There was no match play, really. And then we've got cavalry in the fight phase. This is the big thing. This is the cavalry charge. So cavalry get an extra attack bonus when they charge, so +1 attack. And of course, if they do win the fight, they knock their infantry models to the ground, which means they will be dealing double. So that is how cavalry are so spicy. 1 attack model becomes 2 attacks on the charge with 4 attacks when wounding. Pretty insane. They can't shield. When you're striking, you have to elect to strike against them. And I think that's basically it. And then we have a pretty cool scenario which we will play at some point called Attack at the Ford, where we've just got some Rohan defending a stream, but the next installment in this magazine is basically the same scenario but adding Saruman. So I thought we won't bother doing this version of it, we'll do the full version of it, and that way we can dive into something a little bit different today. And now we have painting the Riders of Rohan. So this is a very, very simplistic scheme that we'll basically be ignoring. But it is nice to see that they're getting a little bit more advanced. They're starting to do highlighting on the metalwork. They're starting to do proper shading and blending and highlights on our green cloth. So, you know, these painting guides are starting to get pretty cool now. Even the horse is quite well highlighted from last issue. So they're doing some reasonably interesting stuff. Now, did they have any terrain workshop in here? Oh yeah, just like really dodgy rivers and fords. We'll have to do some river work and some ford work at some point on the stream, but not today. Today it's all about a big Pelennor battle report. So let's have a look at Lockie's paint scheme. So we've got here one of our riders that we painted the other day. I think I can make that a little brighter. That's a little bit dark. We've got here one of the riders that we painted the other day. He's just got his brown horse done. And so Riders of Rohan for me, we'll be doing the classic Christmas Rohan scheme. There's basically a bunch of different regions. We've got the reds, we've got the browns and leathers, And we've got the greens, they're the three main colours. Then we've got two metallics, golds and silvers. And then we've got bones and fleshes. And then, I suppose, hair, which I didn't get stuff out for. So, good job there. So, I'm going to start with the largest layer. Oh, have I got my wet palette? Yes, I do. And we'll zoom in a bit as well. And we'll grab this big old boy. Beautiful. Alright, let me get into painting position. David says, Lord of the Rings was the start of my actual attempt to paint my miniatures. Yeah, it was the journey, the beginning of the journey for many of us. Oh, awesome. Water in my wet palette. That's what I want. Well, obviously I want water in my wet palette, but not on top of the bit that needs to not have water in it. Let's try and get rid of that before we begin. There we go. So I'm going to throw this Caliban green down on the wet palette. I don't want it to be too thick and gloopy. And conveniently... Jeez, that feels pretty solid. There's definitely paint in there, but... Here we go, let's get a little bit of paint down on our palette. So Caliban green is what we're starting with, and let's get a little bit of close-up action here, Lockie. Let's make sure the viewers can see. There's way too much crap underneath my table. Caliban green. Now, obviously, I'm painting this guy glued to the horse because I'm an animal. I shouldn't be doing that, but unfortunately, I don't have... this guy's just glued on. Couldn't get him off, and none of the others are primed, so this is what we're running with today. So we'll probably do 2 thin coats of Caliban just to get some good coverage, but we'll see how we go. It is a darker paint that's going down on black, so it's not too bad. I end up doing the second coat anyway, usually, because I'm all about wet blending these highlights with basically Riders of Rohan in general. Usually get a lot of wet blending for me, just because it makes it so much faster. And we get a really great result. Now remember, base coating rules. This is the first color going down. You should be messy as hell. You do not need to get it all confined to the right zone, because of course all the other regions are going to get base coated anyway. We're not painting contrast paints here, so that doesn't matter. Get up underneath there as well. The only thing I need to care about is my horse, because that's done. Or at least the flesh of it is done. I think that's enough of the green. Get a little bit more in and around that region. So it's just the cloak for me that I do green, and then the rest of the colours are going to be browns and reds. So that armour there is going to be brown. That's going to be red. That'll be brown. Cool. Alright, well while we wait for that first green layer to dry... Jesus, drying almost as I hit the model. Oh, I'm so organised. Where is my paint pot? Uno momento, por favor. Alright, we have a paint pot, and we don't have water. I'll be back. Quality stream here. Organisation level over 9,000. Alright, we have a paint pot. That's better. I've heard, and this is just a rumour, that washing your brushes is useful. Alright. I think someone asked about how to make a wet palette, and Mr. Jacob Lucas himself is in the chat and has kindly responded, so thank you, Jakey. Up next, what we'll do is we'll base coat our second largest layer, which is our brown. I'm going to be using Rhinox Hide, or Charred Brown in this case, from Vallejo. Give that a good shake, because it separates a little bit. That's down on the wet palette, and then we'll throw a big old juicy base coat all over our brown. So there's a lot of browns on this model. We're going to start off down the bottom, keep it simple. We've got the shin pads, the loincloth, the saddlery. There's this little bit in here as well. I have got this quite thin, which is nice. It's drying really nicely. There's the leather strap we'll probably not bother with yet. We'll just pick that out after the metallics. And then, of course, the quiver at the back. Want some brown on that as well. Brown, brown, brown. Don't forget the arm guards. I might just throw a brown prime, or a brown base coat rather, down on the hair as well. Because we'll end up making that sandy, so it's always going to be easier. Oh, this is some epic mold line removal. This is some of the... I think this might be one of the worst feelings. Look at this. Is finding a... that wasn't even a mold line. That was like a piece of sprue. Still on the model. Excellent work. Alright, so now we're just going to start again, and I'm just going to go prime this model outside. No, just kidding. We don't care about a tiny bit of that. We'll just get some nice brown on there to get rid of that. We might have to do a couple of coats to make sure that it's primed nicely, but that's fine. I'm also going to... I think that might be all of our brown. We're just focusing on the rider today. We'll hit this bow as well. It needs a little bit of brown. We could do a cool wood grain effect on the bow, but it's always good to start from a brown. This is the thing with these riders. It's just like everywhere you look, there's brown. We need the scabbard, of course. Oh, I've missed a portion of green there on the front section of the cloak. Brown on the scabbard. Just going to grab some green for that front section of the cloak. A bit of green there and up underneath. And the helmet. We need to do the helmet. What do we want? We want brown for the helmet. Because it's a leather kind of coif. With a little bit of brass kind of inlay and stuff. And then these cheek pads are also brown. I'll hit that section of the hair too. Cool, alright, that's our brown down. How's our green looking? Our green has come up pretty well. What we might do then is we will finish the green layer next, I think. Ah, oh, sick! Brilliant filming, Lockie. So the way I usually keep stuff in camera is I set my hands on my wet palette, but when I went and got my water, I moved the wet palette. So let's make sure you guys can see. Oh, that's way better. I was like reaching over to a place so that you guys could see, and didn't even need to. Well, we've had our first excellent show of craftsmanship on the channel, on the stream this morning. Alright, that should be pretty good for you guys. Fine painting in here. Hey, beautiful. That's a bit better, isn't it? Okay. Is that kislev flesh tone with a ryklon wash? It will be, deep in the background. You know my recipes already. Harry says Lockie is just low-key showing that he used to be a hand model. Not a hand model, but no, I don't know if we'll dive into that part of my past just yet. We'll leave that one a mystery. Let's go. Let's throw down. We might just continue with our base coats actually, and I'll chuck down my my scarlet red. This is just a kind of cool red with a nice opacity, just to act as a base tone for the reds, and then we'll blend these up with some wet blends later. So I'm kind of getting all the simple base coats down, and then we'll dive into the wet blending, and you guys will be like, oh man, that's cool, wet blending. I'm just getting these little bits of red in and around. I like to make, I think it's those parts red, a red tunic. Yeah, we'll go for a red tunic. So that'd be fun. I don't think I'd normally paint that bit red, but that'll look cool. So these sleeves that are jutting out here are now going to be red, just to give it a little bit of extra color. I think I had this pose in my battle companies, but I can't remember which one it was. Don't think... Oh, it might have been Hasufel. Might have been Hasufel. One of my archers. Cool, a little bit of red there, a little bit of red there. We'll leave the under tunic to be brown. Cool, that's our red base coated. Let's jump in and do our green. So, we've got a little bit of Caliban on the palette already. What we want to do is bring in some Warpstone Glow and mix in some kind of like mid-tones, basically, between those two regions. So I'm just going to grab a crappy brush. Only fans, only hands. So Warpstone Glow is going down. This is, you know, the new Goblin Green, right? You can see all of these recipes are built from the classic recipes. They sound new because they're new colors. I'm going to bring a little bit more Caliban on as well because I want to keep some of that Caliban on the wet palette. And I'll start with like a 50-50. You guys see that? Yeah, sort of. I'll start with a 50-50 between Warpstone Glow and Caliban. Yep, that looks good. And I'm going to bring in a little bit more Warpstone Glow. And just like dump that on the palette on the end here. And just do a little transitional region between those two. Just to give myself another color. So you can see there with the gradient, I've effectively got like 4 colors. The base coat, a darker 50-50, a slightly lighter, and then pure Warpstone Glow. So now what we want to do, that Dark Angel's green. You hear that? See, that's the old language coming through. That Caliban green, rather. Man, I miss the original Dark Angel's green. That shit was amazing. Something about this Caliban is not quite the same. A little bit too much blue in it, maybe. I think that's what we talked about on the stream last time. So I'm going to throw just another thin coat of Caliban over everything. That's going to get some nice opacity. More importantly, it's going to give us some wet paint all over this cloaked region. And wet paint blends well. So there's our Caliban down. This is how you get models painted fast. So now I'm going to bring in the 50-50 mix. And I'm just going to blend that in. And apply that quite liberally. Leaving the Caliban green sort of in the darkest recesses. So picking out all the folds, picking out quite a lot of the flat material. And basically hitting all of this front region. Remember to do this section over the top of the shoulders as well. So it often gets missed, like right in here. And it should be one of the brightest regions because it's getting hit by sun. So there you can see, not sure how well that's reading on camera, but because it's all wet, it'll be shiny. I've kind of highlighted that up. While it's still wet, I'm going to grab my lighter tone. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, just blending it into those top regions. Hitting a little bit less. I won't hit all of that flat panel. I'll hit the side there. And we want to hit this broad section here. And now on these top regions, I want to let a little bit of that undergreen still show. Especially on the back here. Looking good, looking good. And then I'm going to grab pure Warpstone Glow, and I'm going to pull that across the palette quite a fair bit, because I don't want this to be super thick and opaque. Just loading my brush up with that Warpstone Glow. And then we're going to come in and basically blow cat hair away from the wet paint. God damn it. And then I'm just going to hit a really gentle edge highlight. Which will look a little harsh, but as it dries, it'll blend nicely because it's quite thin. And I'm not putting that everywhere. It's just going on like the crispest edges, where there's where there's cloak like folded, which means it's thin and bunched, and not only catches light, but also sort of looks different. So the cloak folds. Getting this little accent. bit there. And then there's some really nice folds that we can accent on this front section. And it's important that we do get a cool green on this part, because we want it to really pop there. Oh, that's looking good. So there we go. How quick was that? We've got absolutely dope looking greens. No washing needed. Just some nice subtle blends. Cool. So now what we're going to do is, I think we'll duck into red land next. And we're going to do a similar thing. I'm going to do a less staged blend, but I'm going to be putting down a layer of gory red all over those reds, and then wet blending another highlight with bloody red. Jazz hands, Lockie. Oh, you guys. So we'll drop a little bit of bloody red in the palette, which needs more of a shake. It does like to separate, this one. Is that Army Painter, asks Michael. No, I don't use any Army Painter. I only use, I've got Vallejo, Citadel. That might be it, brand-wise. Have any other paints by any other brands? I don't think so. No, these are all Vallejo game color. Yeah, I'm not particularly brand loyal anywhere. I mean, Vallejo is quite inexpensive. But the quality is pretty fantastic most of the time. So, but with every line, some paints are worse, some paints are better, and obviously dropper bottles are fantastic. Oh, apparently I'm painting that red now. That's not what I meant to do. So just getting this red all over the red base tone, because that scarlet red that we put down is quite cool. I want a layer of this. So that was essentially just like a priming. Oh, I missed that whole green section on the front. God damn it. So yeah, we're just getting the red on the model here. This is probably still a bit thin, which is annoying. Need to get some agitators in those models, in those bottles. Cool. So that's our gory red down. Now I'm going to switch it out, get some bloody red happening. Going dark, says Harry. Does that mean you guys have lost vision, or is it just Harry? Can you use actual? Oh right, I didn't read his comment above. Can you use actual blood instead of bloody red? Let me just grab my scalpel. That's true. Sam says, Harry, that might go against YouTube's terms of service. Lucky might have to go back to his modeling career. I never said I had a career. It's not like I'm not like Friendly Geordies, who was like a genuine model. I was just like did some TV stuff when I was a kid. Not very much, tiny, like, you know, a couple of game shows or something. I can't even remember now. I was very young. And then the search begins. No, you won't be able to find it. I made sure of that. Alright, so down goes the bloody red. And now what we're doing is that same thing. We're just blending in a nice little highlight here. Everything's still wet, so it's going to blend nicely. But we're going to at least pretend to try to accent the raised regions. And we'll get... oh, that looks fantastic. I love red and green. Christmas Rohan for the win. I ended up turning this region red as well, so that happened. Doesn't matter. I can fix it. Cool, so we've got our red finished, we've got our green finished. How quickly is that coming together? Let's get our browns finished. I think we'll put down a highlight on the browns before we wash them. So down comes some dark flesh tone. And I'm just going to layer this, and we'll do the exact same thing. We'll get this layer down, and then we'll blend up some highlights. So I guess I should get my highlights ready first, which for some reason, I'm not here. You know what? Let's just make some highlights. Let's throw dark flesh tone down. I can hear a little baby outside. Hello. Yeah, come in. Come say hi. No, it's alright. I haven't got that crazy light up yet, so that's only for the bat wrap. I didn't need it for this. So I'm just bringing in some bone white, and I'm just going to mix a highlight of a lighter brown. I like to use the bone instead of pure white, because it keeps it more in that yellow-browny sphere. And we have a little visitor! Hello, monkey! You gonna come up and say hi? Look what I have this morning, everybody! A pot! It's a measuring cup. Well, it's a baby-sized pot. Yeah, look, Daddy's painting his horses. Look at this little guy. Yeah. All right. You go have a fun morning with Mummy. She's like, why do I get brought in here for 2 seconds? I want to play with all the things. She's a...
Spill the wind.
Yes.
Spill the wind.
Spill the wheel. Yes, she wants to spin the wheel. She spins the giveaway wheel about, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times a day. She loves that thing. All right, so I've got my brown and white. We're going to mix those, brown and cream, sorry. Going to mix those together to get a lighter brown. I've gone way too hardcore with that bone. That was way too much bone. Where'd my charred brown go? Scarlet red. Not charred brown. I'm looking for dark flesh tone. I've lost a whole paint. There it is. So I'll put a little bit more dark flesh toning because that's hardcore. That is. We just want a subtle highlight for the browns because we don't really want to be noticing the browns. We kind of want them to melt away. There we go. That's just a slightly lighter brown there. Let's wash that mixing brush up. So now I'm going to grab I'll grab my layer brush and I'll grab some dark flesh tone, just pure, and then we'll layer all the browns with that. Which definitely starts to bring them up. Yeah, we want it on the shin pads. Where else is brown? Obviously the bow. What I'm doing with the bow is I'm not it's not uniform coverage. I'm just dropping a few streaks, which is sort of forming the beginning of the wood grain. You can see, like, look how fast I'm moving. A lot of this is just like, get it done. Like, you usually got to paint, like, if you're painting Riders of Rohan, you shouldn't be. You should be painting Royal Guard. What? No, if you're painting Riders of Rohan, you're painting like 30 of them, right? So get them done. Is the way I like to work. If you want to painstakingly take your time, more power to you. But I got games to play. Alright, so there goes our dark flesh tone. Now I'm going to come in with that dark flesh tone and bone mix. And we're just going to blend in just like a subtle highlight on all the edges. Anywhere that's brown. Now this particular flat piece of leather is a tricky one, because there are subtle folds and highlights, but they're really, really subtle. But luckily, these colors are so close, it all blends together very nicely, so you're not really at that much of a risk. Adding in a little bit of a highlight to the arm guards. Oh man, I completely missed this arm guard. Let's get some dark flesh tone on that. I'll try and work up from that at the very least. Alright, back to my highlight. We want to pick out all these little raised folds on the quiver. Just a little bit of a highlight point on the leather of the helmet, just in the middle, where it's brightest. Where else have I got red? Yeah, this guy. And a little bit on this arm. Might accent that a little harder. These guards look quite nice with a defined highlight up the center. And then I'm just going to hit a couple of extra streaks on this bow. Cool. Okay, so that's our brown done in terms of basing. That's the red and green finished. What we're going to do now is throw a shade down on that brown. That's our next step. And then we're moving to metallics. Weirdly, while I've got this really, really light color on the brush, it's like a mix of the bone and brown. I'm just going to do a quick base coat here of this motif, because eventually this will be bone. And anytime I've got a color that isn't black, I sort of throw it on that's remotely in the same things. It's always going to be easier to work up from. Doesn't have to be perfect. Speaking of doesn't have to be perfect, why isn't this shield green? Okay, so while we wait for that brown to dry, what I'm going to do is a little touch-up phase. I'm going to go back to my greens. Juan Marino is joining us. Thank you, Juan. Glad you're enjoying the painting. I'm going to throw green down all over the shield, because for some reason I haven't got green down here. So starting off again with Caliban green. This has sort of ended up quite thin now on the palette, so I'm probably going to need to do 2 coats. That's okay. And then we want... I missed a section of cloak here. It looks like I got the dark green down, I just didn't do the highlights, so... In come our highlights. I'm not going to bother doing the full wet blend experience. I'll just get a little bit of highlights there. Oh, I should close my soundproofing. Alright, there we go, guys. Looking pretty strong. We've got to wait for this green to dry and wait for the browns to dry before we can drop some Nuln Oil on them. I'll just shut my door over. Alright, let's jump into this chat and check in with everybody. See how you guys have been going. How long have we been pumping on for? Oh, it's nearly 9 o'clock, almost at the hour. Did anyone grab a charge of the Rohirrim box set? I've never seen a Lord of the Ring box set sell out so quick. So that's a question from Floey. Now, I didn't even see that box set because I haven't even logged on to look at Hammer, frankly. Here comes my blotting paper. Oh, special delivery. Quacker's brought me some blotting paper. Yeah.
She brought me the like duck puppet and the duck felt piece. I was like looking at me, I was like, I know what you want.
Where's the third one?
And then she was running away from me.
Sorry, cute daughter update. So, yeah, I don't even know what that box set's value was. Was there a discount from that big Rohan army box set that got released on the weekend? Or let us know in the chat what you guys think. Yeah, Crazy Out sold out crazy quick. 450, says Harry. I know it came with Aemma, Dernhelm, and Theoden, and then like 4 boxes of Riders of Rohan. I think that's what was in it. But let me know if that's wrong. Ezekiel says, you are lightning fast. Eric asks, what primer was it used? It's just Chaos Black. Just working from black with these guys. George is in the middle of Iron Hills. Rohan is next. We've got... yes, Jazz says, shattered all the stuff I need for my Isengard army is out of stock. Yeah, hopefully that'll end soon. It's getting a bit exhausting. Harry says, I blame you, Lockie. You and your Rohan jazz hands spruiking. Yes, Rohan. I mean, it doesn't help that all the releases of Rohan. I'm sure that's part of the popularization of Rohan, but I think I can claim a tiny bit of credit. I do like myself some from Horse Boys. Michael says, loving those reds already. Thank you, Michael. Harry just ordered 6 Royal Guard with Aemma. Rip wallet. Nothing wrong with that. Liam says, can Hazel spin the wheel next giveaway? Done deal. I'll bring her in. Alright, I think that's everything, yes. What colour are you going to paint the shield? Asked Gyro. Yes, so that was before I realised I hadn't painted it because I'm an idiot. So sometimes I do a half and half, but today we're just going to do a pure green. Alright, let's get another base coat down on that shield. Not worried about the fact that that was just a really messy application. You know, I'm going to clean up that bone. I don't really care about it. The dodginess of that applique. Make sure you get the rim as well, guys. Never forget to attend to the rim. And the chat goes wild. Alright, here comes in our 50-50 highlight. I'm just going to crisp up that edge. Again, we're wet blending this. With a pretty heavy edge there. Letting a reasonable amount of the paint catch. Which really helps define the shape. And then I'll wipe off my brush. Now I have blotting paper and I can stop using my jumper off camera. I'm just going to bring in the brightest green as well, and I'm just going to crisp up the edge just like along the top. Just creating that illusion of a bit of sunlight. Now that's fairly extreme, so I may glaze that back a little bit here. I can even just bring in some pure Caliban and just sort of massage the blends. So it's not quite as extreme. There you go. Looks like we've got a slightly brighter highlight on the top of the shield now. So, that's that green done. I finished the other green, almost. He has dried, and we've lost a little bit of that highlight I put in, so I'll just put in a bit more. Sexy. Alright, that's green's finished. Red's finished. Let's do the brown wash. We're going to grab some Nuln Oil, which may look a little glossy as it goes down, but remember this will get hit with matte varnish after the stream, so no big deal. We're going to Nuln Oil all of the brown, which will look particularly badass on these larger regions. Like the quiver and stuff. We've got this big, large block of fabric here, and we want to push that back a little bit. You know what? A bit of agrex might go a long way on these leathers as well. Oh man, I missed leather. Damn it. Every time. This is what I find always happens with these Rohan models, is as you paint stuff, you realize, oh, that's meant to be leather as well. Back I go. Outcome. You're constantly chopping back and forward, which is why I smashed through these early layers. Cool, so that's just some Nuln Oil down on the leather elements. Let's finish off the bone next, seeming as that green is done. I'm going to grab some khaki, and I'm going to throw the khaki down, and then I'll layer up to bone, just to get a good coverage of bone, rather than doing 50 coats of bone and getting all streaky. 120 of you guys tuning in. That's pretty badass. The streams are just getting bigger and bigger, which is pretty cool, because what it means is we're indoctrinating all the new 40k viewers into a substantially better system. The lore of 40k is fantastic, but my god, the game is a mess. Excited to check out 9th edition. Maybe they will have fixed some of it, but yeah, we'll see. Good for narrative play. It will be perfectly serviceable for what we need. But my goodness. Oh, it's just so... frustrates me sometimes. Why do I have to stand around for like half an hour while my opponent does stuff? It's really bad game design. Belongs in like the 90s. Or the early 2000s. But that's what 10th edition will be all about, I'd say. Getting rid of the I go, you go turn structure. We'll have to wait and see. 4 years' time. Alright, so I'm just getting this khaki down. Just whatever. I don't know what the hell these things are supposed to be. Like, I guess there must be horse heads. They sort of look a bit more like dragons. This guy's a bit thin, so I'm just gonna wick away some of this paint that's gone in the wrong spot. With a wet brush. Get that spill off my gorgeous, freshly blended green. See, even now, look how that green's dried. It's so subtle, even though it looked really like stark and contrasty when I put it down. But now it's just like a gentle green highlight. It's very cool. Very cool stuff. Alright, we will agrex Earthshade this whole shield, which will make those recessed details pop a little bit more, but that's enough for our base coat. Just trying to move around all of the stuff that's spilt, basically. I'm just cleaning up here with a wet brush. Cool, alright, we'll let that dry. So we're almost up to metallics. That's like a big layer. I've just missed a few little brown things, so I'm just going to come back in with... where's all my charred brown gone? I think that's scarlet red. Oh, who can even tell? Let's get some charred brown back down, which is my darkest brown, my base coat, you guys will remember. Okay, I've just missed a little... Oh, that's because that's gold. That's why I haven't painted that brown. Well, that's fine then. I will hit the shoes with a brown, actually. It's a lot of brown in that one spot because the horse is brown, the shoes are brown. It's Brown Town. Brown Town. We will go back to our browns and we're doing our straps and things. But let's move on to our metallics. I'm actually going to start with gold first rather than silver. I'm just going where the inspiration takes me. So in comes Retributor Armor, or Shining Gold, for the old hands around the place. Alright, in comes the gold. I'll come back and hang in the chat in a sec. So looks like there's some interesting stuff to talk on. So Retributor Armor is going to go down over all of our gold details. So what's gold on this model? Well, you can make whatever you want gold. Don't let anyone tell you anyway. Otherwise. But today, I'm going to make this shieldy bit gold. The little, what the hell is that part called on the shield? Anyone remember? I should know that. There's this little, top of the leg guard, which is gold, and these little gold details on all the little armor bits and pieces. So one of the nice things I really love about Rohan, it separates all the different color regions and makes them pop with little glints and highlights. This guy's got quite a thick, chunky bit of gold on him. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm remembering how to paint Rohan now. I usually do this gold detail first and then the wash, because I just wash it all with agrex. It's all coming back to me. Well, a bit of null oil certainly won't hurt, because I mixed up quite a light highlight and it made the brown leathers go a little lighter than I wanted anyway. So I have no problem with the null oil as well as the agrex. Am I stealing camera? Yep. Alright, so there's a little bit of gold down. Sometimes it's still useful to thin it on the palette, because it's going down a little thick there. I'll even that coat out by bringing in a thinner version of gold. There we go, that's a better application. And we want to make sure you apply it to the top as well, not just the flat surface. Alright, let's do our other fellow. He's still got some pretty wet wash on him. Need to be careful here that we don't hit the green. We've got a little bit there. Getting those edgings. The edging just like sells it so much. It looks awesome. So it's definitely worth doing. And you just come in with the side of the brush. Just give it a little hit. That's the easier part. The difficult part are these over the top of the arch of the foot, because you have to use, you know, brush tip rather than the side of the brush. Wick away the last of that excess null oil. Make sure you got a decent enough point on the brush. You can do that by twisting on the palette. Good old Duncan taught me that one. And we're just bringing in that little accent of gold across the top of the foot there. Beautiful. That's good enough. Just check the top of this. Beautiful. Gold, gold, gold. Where else do we need gold? We need gold on the crest of his helm. Well, his whole helmet banding actually is gold, isn't it? A little golden horse head up there. Move this gold over here. It's a little bit in danger of being knocked over where it is there, right next to my elbow. Gold, gold, gold. This gold continues down. I don't think it meets up. No, it doesn't. So the little horse head doesn't link up all the way with the metal band that goes above the eyes. But the band does continue all the way down the back. Alright, let's get a little bit more of that gold and bring it in. So now I've got the band that goes all the way around the helmet. Being a little bit quick here, obviously, because I'm on the stream. I'd probably take a tiny bit more time to make sure I wasn't hitting the brown. We've got lucky so far. Probably shouldn't have mentioned it. It's just going to burn me hard now. Come on, get that gold down. A little bit more there. Right, let's wash this brush out. bring it back to a little bit more of a point. Give it a little reset. And then we will load that up on the palette, and we've got one last little golden detail. Oh yeah. This last section of the back, this is tricky. Oh, actually, it's not a big deal because this is the... Sorry, this is going to suck for filming for a sec, but I just don't want to have to redo this. We are going to re-base coat the hair probably, so if you get the hair, it's not a big deal. So I did that pretty messily. Whoa, super messily. So I'll just come in and quickly clean that up with another brush. Man, we did so good! Till that final moment. Alright, in comes some brown. Gotta knock that sheen out. There we go. Alright. Think that's our gold finish. Let's have a quick look. We've got gold on the helmet, gold on the pommel. Not pommel, whatever it's called. Oh, pommel! Speaking of pommel, we need gold on the sword. The sword pommel. Just tucked in here. And the hilt. A little bit of gold detail there. I don't think that has gold on the base of it, but we're going to do it anyway because it looks badass. I think it's meant to, it's just like, what even is detail in these old Riders of Rohan. Alright, looking good, looking good. Got some more gold there. Now, is there any gold detailing on these braces? Yeah, we can see a bit. Let's put some in. These are definitely the trickier ones. Stuff's getting pretty small and detailless here. Underneath is not so bad. Gold, gold, gold. Beautiful. Alright, that's one arm done, you can see there. A little bit of gold on those trims. And then this other big focal point arm, which is of course the shooty arm. Prime up some more gold there. Want to get that in. It's got some definition on the van brace pointing back towards the rider, but the definition on the front section is a little lackluster. So we're sort of almost drawing it in places. Beautiful. Alright, that is our gold finished. We're going to let that dry, and then we'll bring in Agrex Earthshade, and that will finish off all the golds and the leathers, and then it is on to our silver next, I'd say, which we can probably start base coating now, but I'll just quickly look at this chat. Alright. Kieran says, this stream is bad for my wallet. White Winter says, can't wait for the next Legion video. Also, can you explain the dislike for the 40k tabletop? Yeah, sure. So Legion's a good example because it's very interactive the entire time. You've got lots of, you know, it's a squad-based system. I move a unit, then you move a unit. Then I move a unit, then you move a unit. The problem with 40k, and it's always been the problem, is that I have a turn and then you have a turn. And that there's two main problems with that. The first one is that for half of the game you're standing around doing nothing. Yes, you can be thinking and planning and maybe calling in an Overwatch and that sort of thing, but it's not the same as like I have a squad move, then you have a squad move. It's all about, alright, I've got this whole block of time to do all my stuff, and then my opponent has a whole block of time. So obviously they try and make a little bit of interactivity, but it's just a completely different system, and every good war game in the world doesn't do that. Star Wars Legion doesn't do it. Bolt Action doesn't do it. Middle Earth, which is arguably one of the best systems, easily the best skirmish system. You know, there's a reason why players are constantly working together. And then the other second part of it that's wrong with that is the whole tactic in 40k, because of the gaming system, of the Alpha Strike. And people talk about it like it's this totally great thing. But the fact that that's even possible is terrible. So the Alpha Strike is basically whoever can put out the first large amount of damage first by either getting the first turn or bringing units in from some sort of reinforcements like Deep Strike or the new one, whatever the hell that's called, Strategic Reserves. And basically being able to deal a whole big bunch of output damage with most of your army against most of the other person's army, and of course they get no chance to sort of retaliate. So you can if you can get the first turn and your whole army's in range, you can leverage your whole army against their whole army and try and win the game by the first turn by getting a massive Alpha Strike. Whereas in all the other systems, you've got the chance to do that with one unit, and then your opponent's unit responds, and then you go, and so it's just really bad game design, and I seriously doubt it will stay around because GW are aware of how bad it is, and I imagine that 10th edition will move towards a pretty big overhaul of the system because the game is aging, and they've you know, every new edition has been sort of like a kind of patch job to fix that. But the opposition to that is that it's almost easier to play because you get to stand around doing nothing for that period of time. So for kind of more casual, newer players who don't want sort of a more complex game, maybe they think that that's better. But yeah, it's a problem. But I mean, it's still a fun enough system, and I enjoy playing it because I love the lore. But in terms of the art of game design, it's just miles behind lots of other systems. So I'm bringing in some agrex Earthshade now, and I'm hitting all of the gold. But yeah, I mean, I love the 40k world so much, you know, that's the great thing about, like, all I play is like narrative, really. I don't care about like the competitive stuff. So I writing cool scenarios and putting together forces and themes that represent specific events, that's what I care about. And so you can still absolutely do that and get some really awesome fun stuff, particularly with cool campaign mechanics and objectives and all that kind of thing. And you know, I haven't played any 9th, but so I can't comment on whether or not that's good yet, quote unquote good. But it's just the whole ideological problem of the I go you go is nothing's going to change that no matter what different rules they've tweaked. It looks like they've improved a lot of the problems from 8th by tweaking, you know, big. Sorry to all the Middle-earth people who are bored of me talking about 40k, but there's, you know, vehicles not being able to shoot in combat, and there were a few pretty obvious problems that have been tied up by some rules tweaks. Yeah, it's becoming a more and more simplified game with more and more rules bloat and a stupid turn system. That would that's kind of my overall problem with it. But I love the models, I love the lore, and so I can hack playing a little bit of a crappy system to enjoy the world that I love. And, you know, custom rules, man. House rules, campaigns, story. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be awesome, actually. Yeah, Nerdjack says 40k has no proper tactics, it's just list building. That is like a huge, broad generalization, but it's also, in part, super true. And that's kind of my whole problem. You know, it's because of the way the system works, it's not really that tactical. I'm sure there will be hardcore 40k competitive players who would be screaming at me, but when you compare it to like the tactics required for other systems where every single unit's move is so important, and you don't have a whole space of time of your army to wipe out your opponent. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, Nerdchat, because it's, you know, Star Wars Legion, for instance, is the classic example, and obviously it has its own problems, but on the whole, it's quite an elegant system. And same with bolt action and things, there's just so much more room for tactical elements, and that's the same thing with SBG. Yes, you have phases, I move, you move, but because we have 50 turns in a game, or, you know, 20, as opposed to 5 turns in a game, priority swinging back and forth, you know, and each move is less important, and every model is individual. So it's a fantastic. It's basically the only time I go you go does work is SBG. Is because it's a much longer game in terms of turn count, and yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, in comes the silver. So we're doing a lead belcher base coat on all of our silver elements. Look how quickly this model's come together, guys. He's getting very, very close. We've got silver scale mail on this guy. Gonna get a good coat on that. It's actually not a lot of silver on this guy. Like, there is not a lot of silver. Obviously, there's like horse armor and horse buckles, but I'm not doing the horse armor today. I've got some silver left over on my brush, so I'll just throw down this on that plate of horse armor at the front. Man, it's looking good. Looking good. Cool, so that's that silver down. Is there any little buckles or straps? Yeah, we've got his belt buckle, which could do with a bit of silver. You can do them gold or silver, whatever you prefer. And then we'll need to bring in brown back. Bring brown back in for the straps. Cool. Pretty happy with that. That's our silver down. Obviously, we'll need to do some Nuln Oil on that. We'll give that a sec to dry. But he is looking really cool. Alright, let's leap back to the chat. Titus says, with no terrain. Yeah, that's the other huge thing that I have. And that's not so much a system problem as like a community problem maybe. But like, I only want to play 40k on boards with ridiculous amounts of terrain. Oh, something's being brought to me. Oh, tea and mandarins. Thank you. Just there's good. Thank you very much. The brekkie delivery has arrived. Yeah, that's a huge part of 40k is people don't really play on boards with a lot of terrain. And as you'll see when we get to my 40k battle reports, and I guess you guys know from me being terrain, you know, I want to play on like, you know, like buildings with like 8 stories all over the board, like a proper hive board. Oh my god, that tea is so good. Amazing. So, yeah, I think having a lot of terrain is really important there as well. Yes, there is a Battle Companies-like system. It's called Kill Team. It's quite good. I enjoy it. Thanks for watching, Mandalore. We'll see you next time. Crusade has just come out, which is like a narrative element for 40k, which is good. Hopefully, it should be sweet. Jan says, Lachlan, did you play the Lord of the Rings Conquest video game? Some time ago, I played it again after many years, and it inspired to make me a mock-up for SBG. I wonder if you played it, and if something inspired you. I did play it. I didn't play it anywhere near as much as I played Star Wars Battlefront, because I didn't own it, but one of my neighbors did, and so I played it a fair bit with him. And then I did the same thing as you. I came back to it sort of about 10 years ago, and I actually was playing the Osgiliath level a lot as a way of researching different building options for Osgiliath, and the Minas Tirith level too. So I'd be like running around the map, not killing anyone, just dodging all the fights, just so I could look at the stuff and like quickly draw down some things, press pause. But we'll definitely see some Lord of the Rings Conquest here on the channel soon. I've got it on Xbox, so it'll be good. Yes, Manny Dishner says, Kill Team does have the dynamic aspect, which is nice. Which is hilarious, right? Because it proves the whole point. Because every Games Workshop system that they have released recently is using alternating turn mechanics, because they understand that it's modern game design. So yes, Kill Team is a really good system. There's a reason why it's been so popular. Yes, Crypt Shadow says terrain is expensive, and that's a huge part of it, is that the Games Workshop terrain is insanely priced. But you can make awesome terrain super cheap. So, you know, that's a big part of it, is people love the Games Workshop kits, and they only want to play in that aesthetic, and all of the Games Workshop, you know, photography is only done in Games Workshop terrain, so it's all people see. So they get sort of, you know, indoctrinated in that purchase culture. But you do not need to play with the Games Workshop kits. But I love them too. I love them. I'm fortunate enough to have several $1,000s worth of the old system kits from my days in Cities of Death to use. But yeah, it's a barrier. Let's see. Sam says, I've been playing Song of Ice and Fire system for a bit while Games Workshop comes back in stock, and it does 1 unit at a time. What a surprise. A new game that was designed recently does 1 unit at a time. White Winters, I'm glad that answered your question, dude. You've set us off on a thing. Yeah, Titus says is disagreeing with the tactics thing. I'm not saying that it isn't tactical. It's just that compared to the high level of maneuverability and tactics that are required in a lot of other systems, it pales in comparison. And yeah, look, obviously every system has tactics and special rules and units to exploit, but Jacob Lucas talks about this a lot. The reason why SBG is such a fantastic game is because the list build is so much less important than the players playing the game. In 40k, if you play someone with a good list and a crap list, the person with the good list will just win. It doesn't matter. Whereas in SBG and a lot of other games, list building is so much less important. And I guess that's the big thing with 40k, is because the nature of the game, the nature of the turn system, and the tactics that are used within that turn system absolutely favor really good lists being built well, dealing a lot of output damage and wiping half the enemy off the table because of that turn structure, because of the tactics that are used. Whereas games like SBG, the list is less important, it's less of a factor than player skill. I can play someone who's, you know, with a really bad list and who's got a really good list, and if I have better generalship, I'm going to have still a really great chance of winning the game. And yeah, obviously, to say that it doesn't have tactics, it isn't true. Every game has tactics. It's just that they're kind of stupid, frankly, because it's just the turn structure. Because the type of tactics, quote unquote, that you do because of that turn structure doesn't create rewarding play experiences for both players. Obviously we're talking broad generalizations here. It's just that it could be such a better system with better tactics if it used alternating unit movement. Or alternating unit engagement. So it's a tricky question. Oh look, Saresanar is here. Oh, I didn't even see your comments, Jacko. Where are they? Where's the top one? Watching your own stream to boost viewership numbers. That's right. There's 127 people watching because I'm one of them. Young people don't want to spend time making terrain. Yeah, time is another thing. You gotta love making terrain, but I think that's part of the whole, gaming clubs going by the wayside and things in some parts of the world. There used to be communal terrain collections. We're all stuck inside at the moment as well. No, it's a good question, White Winters. It's nice. Thank you for watching, Nerd Shack. Go have a good sleep in Wales. Yeah, Kenny Saresanar is Jackson from the channel, so he's just winding me up. Don't pay him any heed. Oh, Daystro has joined us. A wonderful Houstonian, 100 Houstonian greetings. Jackson says 127 burner phones are watching the stream. There's actually only 5 of you. Kenny says, my printer makes most of my terrain. Yeah, 3D printing's brought in another great option for terrain. Sorry, just trying not to choke on mandarin seed. Alright. Let's bring in some bone white. Alright, we're gonna finish off this bone detail because this shield is basically done now. We could do another highlight on the gold, but I'm probably just gonna leave it looking pretty grungy today. So I've put this bone on the palette, I've thinned it out a fair bit. I've done my Agrex Earthshade wash, but I haven't even got the bone down, so I'm just all over the shop today. This is what happens, I just do stuff. Follow the inspiration. It's quite interesting, because when I'm painting for tutorials, and when I'm when I'm painting on these streams, I try to do stuff, you know, in like a teaching order. But when I'm painting myself, and one of my mates, John, kind of talks about this a fair bit. You guys might know him from Trapped Under Plastic, or his own awesome channel, which has just started, John Ninus. He always goes on about, like, just paint whatever, whenever. If something inspires you, if you're like, I really want to paint that arm, just paint that. Don't be like, no, I must do all of this color first. You don't need to put up more barriers in front of you. If you're excited I'm excited right now to do this bit of bone, so that's what I'm going to paint. Even if it doesn't make sense, because I should wait for something else, somewhere else, for more time efficiency. You'll lose just as much time being bored by following the correct procedure. But because I'm always doing tutorials, I always have to paint in like the easy, most sensible, best way to teach order. So today, I'm just going to go wherever. I'm just going to go crazy. Alright, there's a bit of bone. Harry says, I'm back. What did I miss? You missed me shitting all over 40k's turn system and insulting people by broadly generalizing and saying it means the game has no tactics, when that's not quite what I genuinely mean. I'm just being hyperbolic. That's what you missed, Harry. Look, we just dropped down to 121 viewers. 7 people left because I said it again. Alright, let's jump into, knocking him over. What do we want to do next? We've got our silver down, it's looking great. Let's finish that off with a little bit of null and oil. It's quite nice locking off a lot of these areas and, getting the, like, different parts of the model, like, to finished. Oh, look at that. Null and oil. Oh my god, all of a sudden I can paint. The silver just looks fantastic. I might just slap a little bit of null and oil down on that saddlery piece as well. And I'm even going to put some more down on that bit of brown there. Okay, so let's look model from the bottom up. Everything's basically done there, done there, done there. So the regions we have left are like the leathers and like then face and hair. So all of the like leather strapping. Now I want to bring a little bit more contrast into this model. Jazz says Lucky threw away 4 burner phones. What do we got here? The Withered Moth says heresy, there is nothing wrong. I'm guessing Withered Moth, is that a defense of the 40k turn system? That's madness. No, but I mean, if you enjoy it, hell, all power to you, who cares? But it's just, yeah. Like, I grew up playing 40k for years. I played 4th and 5th and 6th edition. Actually, no, not 6th, but I played 40k for like a decade, and I played a little bit in 8th, and I'm playing more in 9th. And, I used to love it too. I used to think it was great. And then I played other systems, like Star Wars Legion, like Bolt Action, and it's just so much more rewarding and engaging. Obviously, it's personal preference. If you like just being able to kind of chill back for half the game, watch your opponent do stuff, then do your stuff, that's awesome. Whatever makes you happy as a gamer is the most important thing. But the game design does belong in 1989. Of those turn mechanics, it's just weird. I imagine it'll change soon enough. It'll be interesting though, because if they do go for that change, there'll probably be like a lot of rage as well. I mean, no matter what they do, there's always rage in the 40k community, but we will have to wait and see. Yeah, that's basically how I feel, Croth. I still play 40k, I still love it. Because, like, dude, 40k is awesome. The universe is probably my 3rd favorite universe out of every universe, every kind of fandom. Obviously, I'll let you guys guess the other 2, and their order. But, it's, there's a reason why I make 40k content. I freaking love it. But it doesn't mean the game can't be improved. Okay, so we want to get these straps. Now, as I was saying, I want to bring in a little bit more contrast. So I'm going to grab some other browns here. Can you guys see the drawer? Just. Not much, though. So let's see what we've got in this drawer here. I've got earth. And I should have tan somewhere. Tan. Middle Earth and Star Wars. There you go. Renga Kataberg says, I'd love to see a bolt action report on the channel. Yeah, so there's like this constant... Like, I love military real like army games, for want of a better word. Yeah, I'm really keen to do some historical stuff. I think historical miniatures are really important for engaging youth with history. So I'd really love to do some World War II stuff, or even older than that. So what I've got here is I've just got some earth and some tan. I'm just like mixing up a random lighter brown. It's very tanny. Let's see if I like it. I might not. Just trying stuff here. Yep, it's too tan. I want more brown. Here, let's see what I've got on the palette. I'll grab a little bit of this. I'll grab a little bit of this light brown and mix it in with some dark flesh tone. So this is the great thing about palettes, is you can just sort of go crazy. There we go. Now I've got a cool, slightly lighter but slightly tanner brown, rather than the kind of chocolatey light brown that we had mixed before. I'm going to put that down on some of my straps. I will give these a wash, but it's just to create a point of difference. It's a slightly different brown to the browns I have everywhere else on the model. What I will do actually is I'll grab this dark brown, and I need to base coat this under section of the arm, which for some reason hasn't been done. Underneath the arm needs a little base coat. This back section. Underneath the arm. Boom, 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 boom. Just bringing a little bit of brown on these tunic elements. Okay, so now I've got a darker brown there. I'm going to bring my lighter brown back in. Let's grab a little bit more of that sandy, earthy brown, actually. I'm just going to bring in a little bit of a highlight on some of these leather straps. And that's all covered in the darker brown now, so I can do some cool blends. And blend those together. Just making the straps stand out from the main browns. And this is something that's really important for like new painters and people who paint GW, is that GW kind of loves to trick people into thinking that you need to own every paint pot, every color. You know, they like to make it easy, but they don't teach mixing paints because they want you to buy one of every color. And so I just, you know, I wanted this brown, I didn't have it, I just slapped browns into the wet palette, mixed random crap together. Now I don't even know what I'm painting with. Who cares? I got a cool brown that looks good on this model. And that's an important little thing, because, you know, you just don't have to have every paint pot. Just mix crap. Alright. So that is our leather strapping done. Oh, I've also just got to do a little bit on the hilt of the sword. It's probably a bit light for that. Ugh. Mouthful of paint. Awesome. Awesome. Wash the brush before licking it. Oh my god. Alright, let's go a slightly darker brown. Slightly darker brown, there we go, there we go. This guy's getting there. These straps are looking fantastic. They've darkened off, they've blended quite nicely. I'm happy with the bone. I'm just going to give that shield a quick wash in Agrex Earthshade. That does the benefit of washing back that bone and giving it a little bit more definition around the edges, but also makes the green look slightly different to the cloak green. And that way you get, you know, it's painted timber, right? So it needs to just look slightly different. But look how much that comes alive just with a little bit of that Agrex Earthshade down over the green. And you can also apply Agrex over your cloak if you want a little bit more shadow. I don't usually bother, but I'll chuck it down on this top section so you guys can have a look. But you can see there it adds a little bit of definition. I'll just put down the whole thing. Just if you guys want to kind of re-deepen those recess details. But I'm always happy. I'm also going to hit this strap with agrex to kind of darken that up a bit. I'll hit the hilt of the sword. These regions. Just moving a little bit of shade through every now and then just to blend stuff together. Agrex is always great for Rohan because everything should be dirty. Everything should be dirty. Alright, we are basically finished with this Rider of Rohan. We just got to do his face and his hair. So, hair, let's go blonde for the hair. So we're going to grab, well not blonde, but like, you know, the classic straw head. We'll grab some khaki and bone. I'm going to apply this dry, using a dry palette, not a wet one. It's way too much paint, as always. And I'm just going to, just because I don't want it to be too thin, so that it gets all watery. And we're just going to, let's get that on camera so you guys can see. Pick out as much as I can. Working in small strokes to try and build up a hair-like texture. But we're letting some of that brown show through. There we go, it's looking pretty good. Knowing when to stop is a tricky thing. Lots of thin little lines. Cool, that's looking good. Now I'm going to do the same thing with bone. I should have, it's probably too wet in the palette. No, I definitely wasn't on Neighbours. I did have an acting agent when I was a kid, but I wasn't actually on anything serious. I was just on some silly, like, Nickelodeon show or something. I can't even remember, to be honest. Some game show that was here in Australia. It's not particularly exciting, and you will never find it. Alright, now just coming in, doing the same thing, a few little lines and stuff. Just put in a little bit of stripe work. See, that'll do. And then when we wash that, hopefully all of the beautifully sculpted detail from 2001 will show through. I'm also going to hit this region in the side here. This one we're just going to have to rely a little more on the wash. Bring the bone in and try and do a little something, but does this guy have a beard? I can never tell. Sculpts are so bad. I don't think this one has a beard. That could be a beard. Oh, who knows? We're just going to make it not a beard. And then if once I get flesh on it, it will be easier to see. So let's grab some kislev flesh to put our flesh down. We're smashing this. We've done this pretty fast today. Which is good, because we've got a pretty ripper game to play. So I'm just going to come in and base coat this whole face with kislev. Which is just being really uncooperative. Might have to do a couple of layers. Oh, I'm going over black. That's why this isn't working. I should have put down a base tone first. I'm so used to painting over grey, I did it without even thinking. Okay, that's definitely a beard. I can see that now the kislev is down. So what I'll have to do is probably a couple of coats of this kislev, allowing to like fully dry in between. That's fine. Renga says, you do realise, Lockie, that when you say to the internet you won't find it, the internet gets super motivated to find it. Yeah, that's kind of why I said it, because like I know that you'll never find it. Like it's just beyond impossible. So I'd be super impressed if someone found it. How old were you when you were on the game show? See, Ezekiel's already on it. He's already trying to do detective work, pretending to ask questions, but he's really just trying to find a date for the show airing. Let me get a new battery for this camera. Look at that, changing batteries like a pro. Kenny says, are you on the credits for Dora and the Lost City of Gold? I bloody hope so. Yeah, I should be. Assistant Props Master. I haven't actually seen it yet. I watched the trailer the other day. Don't think I'm going to watch it. It's not just so good. Not good. Aaron said, someone is going to know someone who lives opposite someone who has an uncle that worked at a TV studio who has access to the old tape recordings. I don't think my community's that big yet that will strike that gold. Did you challenge? Did you just challenge the internet to find your acting past? You won't find it. It's fine. Conspiracy theory. Lockie doesn't paint these models. It's a stand-in, and he just commentates from the side. All we see are his hands. Look, I'm here too. Here's my face. Hello. Was it Go Go Stop? No. Sam says, what's on Australian Nickelodeon? Wellgate. Definitely wasn't on. It was such a non-event. Harry says, there was a show called Bopper Bop, hosted by Brooklyn Brinton Bean. Suspicious. Definitely. How long until Lockie is on his tipping point? He would be... Oh, hang on, I can't read this. How long until Lockie is on tipping point? He would be great with the hand skill he has. I don't know what tipping point is. Is that a game show? My money's on to Casey's Castle. No, it was just like, Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men? Man, I'd love that. That would have been great. Someone's asking about my brush. Kenny says, I'm not sure... Oh, it's Liam. So Kenny's answered for me. He says, I'm not sure what brand exactly, but he opts for imitation sable over real sable. Yeah, no tiny little beautiful Kalinsky ferrets need to die for me to paint toy soldiers. So I paint with synthetics. These are... They're called Holcroft. They're from Riot Art and Craft here in Melbourne. Here in Australia. So yeah, they're okay. I'm sort of trialing them at the moment with this one brush. I will have to wait and see. Unfortunately, synthetics just aren't as good. Can't escape that. But I'm used to painting with shit brushes. I don't care. Speaking of historical games, oh that's right, we were talking about historical, and I got completely psyched out. Ezekiel says, is anyone else having massive lag? No. My school had a World War II tabletop game elective last year. Whoa, that is cool. That is cool. Harry says, and speaking of history, did you know Lockie used to be a model? It's not what happens. It's not what happens. There we go. I think I'm caught up. Okay, bolt action. Wouldn't Nuln Oil be one of your desert... would Nuln Oil be one of your desert island paints? Oh, man. What a fun question. I just scrolled away from that by accident. Let me see who that was, because you deserve credit. That is a good question. I lost it. Where did it go? Someone's knocking on my door. I've lost it now, but man, that's a great question. Whoever asked that. Okay. Whoever it was, good work. So, desert island paints. So, if you guys had... Let's make it realistic. Say you have to... You're going to a desert island, and you can take whatever models with you want. And you could only take, let's say, 4 paints, assuming that you've got access to, like, a primer. So, assuming the models come pre-primed in whatever primer you want, what 4 colors would you take? So, obviously, it's tricky, right? Because you want to take, like, cool stuff like shades, but really, if you just take 3 primaries, you can make every color. So I think I'd have to take Nuln Oil, and assuming you've got access to water, so Lamy and Medium doesn't need to be one of them. But metallics, man, oh, you can't. Okay, I guess you could always do non-metallic metals by making greys, so that's probably what you'd have to do. For me, it would probably be What are the three primaries? Blue, yellow, and red. Yeah, I mean that's really the smart ass answer, isn't it? Just like taking blue, red, and yellow, and mixing them, and then taking probably one technical paint, which was like a useful wash. So it'd have to be Nuln Oil, I think. Yeah, it's a good question. Good question. But yeah, it'd be fun to take like some really nice greens. But you just have to get good at color mixing, wouldn't you? For the Desert Island Paint Challenge. What if you could only take one box of models to paint on a desert island? What would you guys take? That's another good question. Oh, Rob Taylor, thank you, Liam. Good question, Rob. I like it. Renga Katterberg says Chimera red, yellow, blue, and white. Yeah, see, that's just cheating, pure cheating, but I love it. Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, you'd need to take a white because you can't mix white. But you can sort of approximate mixing black. Interesting. Very cool. And I knew someone was going to say the Pelennor Fields box. That's cheating. Alright, very cool. Very cool. Steven says, I love these streams, but this chat is what makes these live streams even better. Well, that's why I, that's sort of why I kind of ramble and talk of it, because I figure you guys probably aren't watching this specifically for the painting. It's a bit of both. It's more about, you know, the cool kind of hangout we've got going. As well as getting some cool stuff painted and then the wicked battle report, which we're about to dive into. Let's chuck down another coat of kislev flesh on this guy. Oh my god, that's... Oh, the camera has reset its thing. There we go. Sorry if that's been overexposed for about a minute or two. Luckily, I've just been talking. Okay, so let's get some of my second coat of kislev flesh. There you go. You can see that's going down nicely now. We're getting a much better even coverage on that. Going to get his neck as well. And then what I'm going to do is just bring in a little bit of brown for his beard. Use some dark flesh tone and just get that beard. Whoop, that's too thin. That'll need a wash, of course. What I will do now is, while that's drying, I'm going to throw down the agrex earthshade on his hair. Hopefully it suddenly looks good, because it looks fairly average at the moment. Certainly looks better. There we go, a bit of agrex down on that. Looking good, and I got spare agrex on the brush, so it's going on the brown leather. There's nothing wrong with more shadowing on that leather. Harry says, what locker are you painting? I thought this was a hand cam. So today I'm painting a left hand. Alright, this looks good now. Look at him, he's almost done. He's almost done. We just got to get our shade down on that skin and get a little bit of a highlight, and he is done Scarino. I love myself some Rohan Riders. Love myself some Rohan Riders. And then I got to slide this board down. We're going to play a pretty cool scenario today. So, while we wait for that last skin layer to dry, let's actually have a look at the scenario. A bit of multitasking. So today, we're going new school. We're not playing an old scenario. We're busting out this bad boy, Gondor at War, and we are playing, Death of the King. So this is on a 2x2 board, and it is, what have we got? On one side we have Theoden and 12 Riders of Rohan, and on the evil side we have the Witch King with Crown of Morgul, a Fell Beast, 2 Might, 14 Will, and 2 Fate. There's a Morannon Orc Captain with Shield and 12 Morannon Orcs. So nothing massive, but it's gonna be cool. So it's basically like the 1v1 of Theoden and the Witch King, which is gonna be pretty dope. And we're going to be able to see. I'm voting for Theoden. I think Theoden's going to get it, but the Witch King's not on the board from the start of the game. So, and listen to these special rules. So at the end of each game turn, you roll a d6 and add the number of the turn you're on. If the total is 7 or more, then the Witch King arrives next turn. Yeah. So basically, he's going to. Oh, cool, he moves on from a table edge of the evil player's choice, and he may charge on the turn in which he arrives, remembering that it is a 2x2 board, and he's got a 12-inch movement. So it's, yeah, he's going to be able to charge. straight away. He can hit anywhere on the board. That's fantastic. At the end of each game turn, King of Rohan. Each time Theoden slays a model, he may regain a single point of might, will, or fate. How awesome is that? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Theoden, and then, yeah, basically it's whoever kills who, out of which king and Theoden. So it should be a fun little punch-on, I think. Should be a really, really fun little punch-on. What's my group message here? No, I'm just getting sent memes from Kenny, just making sure he's not telling me the stream is broken, which has happened sometime. Catch you guys on the next one, says James. Here in the UK, using a scalpel at 1 AM probably isn't advisable to carry on. Yes, safety first there, James. People have been roasting me lately in the comments of my 40k conversion video, because I cut towards myself and cut towards my fingers when I'm cutting with my scalpel, but I do that so you guys can see. And I don't cut myself that often. Not the end of the world. I'm gonna be getting absolutely roasted. People very concerned for my safety. Alright, that is the skin tone finished. We'll just put down a little bit of Ryklon Flesh Shade. We've been going for 2 hours. That's not too bad. Thank you for watching, Harry. We'll see you next time. So all we're going to do now is throw down this shade. And then we'll jump into the battle report. Obviously, we could do some skin highlights and stuff, but it's such an area of tiny skin. I also haven't done the dude's gloves, but that's fine. You guys get the idea. So I just throw down a little bit of Ryklon Flesh Shade. Pushing that around, making sure not too much ends up in the eye wells. So I sort of take the paint off and then just kind of zap it out of those eye wells. And you can see already that the skin just has like proper definition now, and then with a few highlights that's going to look pretty mint. So there we go, guys. Rider of Rohan, looking absolutely awesome. And this is a pretty dope little model. I really love the Riders of Rohan. They're kind of like one of my classic Middle-earth experiences. I've painted a lot of them. Oh, someone asked a good question that I didn't answer. Shawnee Rosado asked, how many points of Rohan do I have? That's an awesome question that I would love to know. So I've got like an 800 point army of Theoden's Riders, which is all Royal Guard. No, I've got 1,000 points of Theoden's Riders, that's all Royal Guard. And then on top of that, I've got Erkenbrand and a bunch of heroes. And then how many Riders of Rohan do I have? Let me look at the cabinet. Oh no, they're packed up. Cool, I'll have to get those out. But they're in the cabinet. And then I've probably got another like maybe 1,000 points of Riders, so I reckon I could hit 2,000 points painted. Maybe less, maybe 1,500. Maybe 1,500 points painted. But yeah, I've got a few. So there we have it, boys and girls. This is the beginning of a big kind of week for Middle-earth. We've had a lot of 40k content here on the channel. And last week, Ryan and I filmed the first in a new series of battle reports. We're launching a little campaign. I mean, in fact, I could probably give you guys a sneak peek. Does anyone in the chat want to see a sneak peek? Let me see if I can. I'll switch back to my desk. Here, I'm going to take the mic with me. Let's see. Before we launch into the battle report for today, it's gonna be messier. What I can do is I can use my desktop capture to show you guys the edit file. And I'll play the little intro for you. I don't think you'll be able to hear music because I don't think it will capture that. Let me have a look. I think it's just okay. Look, okay. The chat is alive with screaming yes. So just give me a sec to open up this project file because it takes a little bit to boot up. Otherwise, we'll get serious lag. And I need to import a capture window here. So how the hell do I do that? I love adding inputs live. Okay, video. No. I want camera. Where's camera? Add input. There we go. Camera, and we want desktop capture. Let's go local desktop capture. And we want... Oh, I can even just capture prem. That works. Yes, it does. That worked very nicely. Okay, so the desktop capture is working. I'll just let the project file buffer. And we'll play it. Does that have audio? Have audio? No, I don't think it does. I wonder if... Gyro Gonzalez says, are you going to raffle some Indomitus material? Yeah, I did buy 3 Indomitus boxes so that we can do some 40k giveaways in the future. I haven't worked out like the format. I don't think I want to commit to doing more streams just yet for 40k or for Star Wars Legion. I think I want to save just the stream format in terms of this like fortnightly regular stream. But we will do some stuff, definitely. We will definitely do some stuff. Buck and Duck. Aaron says, I think it's Gondor at War. Yes, the scenario we're playing today is Gondor at War. Oh, sorry, the question... Well... Buck and Duck says, really hope it's not a Gondor at War campaign. We're not playing a Gondor at War campaign. We're not. We're not. But I am building Minas Tirith. So it is a teaser. Ezekiel says you never answered my age question. Yeah, that was deliberate, Ezekiel. I'm not giving you any information. No, I think I was like 7, maybe. Would have been like late 90s. I think it was. I'm guessing Michael might be doing one on his channel. Guessing by the, it is Gondor themed though. So but it isn't Gondor at War. It looks okay. It looks like this is buffered. I'm just going to turn the music off for a sec. So sorry, you'll just have to hear me and my voice. I'm going to see if I can add an audio input for you guys. So audio. That's an audio file. Sorry, I'm winging this on the fly here, guys. I'm not really used to adding these kind of things. No, I don't think I can get you audio. So you'll just have to... I know. I'll do the audio. Okay. So here's the wonderful... This is what my edit screen looks like. Should be finished. Let me just check that that's actually updating live. It is. Okay, we're good. All right. So we're gonna have to. There's no audio, so I'm gonna have to do. Here, I'll put my music back on, so at least feels slightly cinematic. And then Lockie will have to do the voice that sounds. Okay, so a bit of foreword. The campaign is called Minas Tirith in Flames. It's a custom campaign for. That we're releasing, and basically this is all about the kind of the story arc premise. So here on Zorpazorp, I'm kind of reshaping our content. So we're running these 3 systems now. We've got the Middle-earth, Star Wars Legion, and 40k, and each of those systems is going to have an arc that's active. And so the active arc for Star Wars Legion is the Geonosis campaign. The active arc for 40k will be some exciting narrative stuff, and the active arc for Middle-earth is called Minas Tirith in Flames. And so the premise of these arcs is that they're a series of linked content that are building towards some sort of story element, whether that's a narrative campaign or a big kind of showpiece series. So there might be painting guides and terrain guides that are all kind of tied together by a theme. So obviously, Star Wars Legion, all of those painting and terrain guides were getting ready for the Geonosis campaign, and now we're playing the Geonosis campaign. For 40k, I'm getting ready my Blood Ravens army, my Necron army, and we're building towards a Crusade narrative campaign with a beautiful Dawn of War theme. That's a little bit of a spoiler. And for Middle-earth, we are building towards our new story arc, Minas Tirith in Flames. So I'm going to hit play. Oh, I can even go big. This might be a bit laggy and a bit buffery, so you guys will just have to bear with me. But, you know, you're watching it live. Yeah, look at this. So, essentially, the story arc is building towards... Okay, how much lag are we going to get here? Is this even going to be viewable for you guys? We'll have to wait and see. Beautiful cinematic intro here. So the story arc that we're building towards is a big narrative campaign. We're going to do 3 small scenarios as kind of a prologue, and they'll be kind of focusing on smaller engagements, and then we will hit a big, massive Minas Tirith siege that's about a 10,000 point battle, just like we did with the Pelennor, where we had an absolutely huge... battle report with 6 players and yeah, over 350 models. And so this is the same sort of model. The big scenario at the end of this campaign will be a 10,000 point Minas Tirith siege, and then we're also doing 3 prologue scenarios, and the first one of those scenarios is coming out this week. I've just got to finish editing it. This is all our big juicy intro here. Nothing like a sexy cinematic intro. I love doing these intros. People might watch this and be like, oh, he's just grabbed a chunk of a movie, but if you compare this to the movie, it's vastly different. Every shot is out of order. I'm completely recutting it, redoing sound design, bringing in sound effects. It's so much fun. It's probably my favorite thing I love doing is working with these films and cutting them together. Yeah, sorry if it was a bit laggy. Also, that's a temp title card. Don't judge the dodgy text. So here we go. So this is our battle report that you can see here that we'll be getting on this week, and it is the siege towers hitting the wall and Gandalf defending it. It's kind of it's our own scenario, but it's loosely inspired by the Gondor at War campaign atop the walls, but we modified it a bit so it suited our terrain. We modified some of the objectives and a lot of the participants, and we did a little bit of kind of sexy work, making it really cool. And making it suit our guides. Looks like I'm getting pretty lag on this 4K footage now, so I might quit that there. But essentially, Minas Tirith in Flames is where we're going with this content. It's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited for it, and I can't wait to get back to making like showpiece Middle-earth terrain. It's really, really great fun. So we filmed the bat rep. We got to edit that this week, and that's what we're working towards. The first one will be atop the walls, or this kind of siege towers and wall vibes. And look at these amazing siege towers too. Huge shout out to Andy Marchant who has loaned these to the channel. They're absolutely phenomenal. We'll be doing a whole video on the siege towers at some point, and yeah, it's going to be absolutely wicked. I'm very, very pumped. I'll just let this little sequence play out. There you can see the top-down board with all of our, beautiful top-down angle and all that kind of updates. So yeah, sneaky spoilers for you guys there, right here. You heard it here first, live on the channel. So, let's have a look at our flesh tone now that has dried. I hope you guys enjoyed that little sneak peek. Just bring my mic back over. So you'll see now that Rohan warrior, as that flesh tone is dried, the skin tone's got a lot more definition. I would normally come and bring in some highlights, but I think it's time to start rolling some dice. So what I'm going to do is the old switcheroo, and we will come on back to get the camera down onto battle report mode and get the second board up, which is going to be pretty cool. I'll just check in with the chat, make sure I haven't missed any bits and pieces. Sneak peek, who doesn't want that? Okay, so this is beforehand. Will there be locky hands? Of course. The stream is chugging. Yeah, my bad. Michael says the ultimate YouTube trilogy doesn't exist. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Aaron says, has COVID affected your ability to do normal bat reps? Absolutely. That's why they disappeared for 6 months. We're in a really great place now here in northern New South Wales and Brisbane. Northern New South Wales especially, but Queensland, it's a lot better. But because I'm over the border now, a lot of my normal gamers are locked behind a border, so they live in Brisbane, they can't travel across the border. Luckily, however, one of our favorite guests lives about 2 minutes from me. I can literally jog to his house in about a minute and a half, and that's Mr. Ryan Trey. So you'll see lots and lots of Ryan in the future, and then we'll get all the boys back when we do the big 6-player battle report. Lockie green screened himself into the cutscene. I should actually do that. That would be amazing. Crypt Shadow asks, is Middle-earth decently priced? Yeah, it's quite good. Sam says, please water Minas Tirith? I'm not sure. Oh, what? Yes, because it's in flames. I get it. Okay, you guys look keen on that. That's exciting. Liam says, God, I think my Minas Tirith walls are too dark. Oh, that's alright. It doesn't matter. I mean, in the book, they're actually black, so don't stress. Don't stress. Zygon says, Zorp, have you done a How to Play series on Middle-earth? I always intended to, but there's such a time investment, and I just hadn't got around to filming it, and then the guys at Top Table did a really great one, so I just haven't bothered doing it yet. Good Smeagol really likes the opening cinematics. Aaron says, Lucky forgot to paint his hands. Yeah, I know. I just thought I didn't need to show you again. Jan says, Lachlan, what Rohan hero is your favorite? Not only for playable, but also for model. Good question. What Rohan hero is my favorite from a lore perspective is probably Theoden. his story arc and his character arc is pretty next level. I don't think the rules kind of accurately reflect that, unfortunately. But I understand he is the way he is for the game system. But the Theoden, I think Theoden's current profile is like a good representation of sort of him at Helm's Deep. But when he's on the Pelennor, he goes into like he's going to the Pelennor Fields to die. He wants to die, and the men of Rohan basically can't keep up with him. He gets into like this bloodlust, this rage, this fury of battle, and he's just like charging deep into enemy lines and just doing insane stuff, such that he leaves, like, usually when he goes to war, he rides with the household knights and his personal guard, and they get left behind, and he just like rides off and starts hacking people to death. But his fury on the battle is such an onslaught that no one can stand before him, even though he's, you know, surrounded by enemies. And the big kind of crux of that is when he sees Suladen, the Serpent Lord, and the elite warriors of Harad kind of riding across the battlefield, and he just like singles him out and rides straight into his whole cohort and engages Suladen in single combat and annihilates him. And so and a lot of his household guard get killed fighting the Haradrim and the Serpent Guard, but Theoden just like wrecks them and kills Suladen, and so he just goes like insane on beast mode. And so I don't think his profile accurately represents that sort of output damage. It's a bit better in the Legendary Legion, which is obviously tied to that moment because he gets access to death, but because he's become this buff hero, which I like, because I like the whole king buffing the warriors and stuff, I think that's good, but I would love him to be a bit more of a combat monster, or have some sort of special rule to represent how he literally he is hoping to die, because he thinks that the world is ending and that there's no way he can really defend his people, so he just wants to like give him hell before they get him. And I think that's a really interesting character arc, and I don't think the profile kind of goes in deep enough, and obviously, so that's why I love him. And all of the models for him are amazing. The new one's a little bit chunkier, but it's still great. And I love all the old metal sculpts. So for lore, for everything. But the other thing I would say, and that's not an attack on Jay, it's just I love the way he's used Theoden. I just think Theoden can have a little more. The one thing I really do love about what Jay did with Theoden in this new edition is he made Theoden so important to Rohan, which is great. His buff machines, everything he does is fantastic. I just wish there could be maybe something a little more to capture that moment, like, you know, occasionally he goes crazy and is forced to charge or something, but he gets insane at it. So yeah, he's great though. I do love the profile, I love the model, and he's awesome. Yes, Matty Disher says he reminds me a lot of how do you say his name again? Brynoth, I think it is, or is it Brenoth at the Battle of Malden, which, forgive me if I get it wrong, because it's been ages since I looked into this, but is that like a Norse folk tale, or is that, I can't remember, but it's I mean, because obviously Tolkien drew heavily on a lot of that stuff. So yeah, good question. Theoden is super poetic, yeah, absolutely. Is it at any of these? Is it any of these? Guess what? Double Dare, Now You See It, Total Recall, Blockbusters, Time Masters, Challenge, Pick Your Face, or Amazing. No, it's none of those shows. Alright, Kenny's off to a meeting in 4 minutes. Have fun, Kenny, although he's probably gone by now, because that was 4 minutes ago. Will says, will you be doing any more battle companies? Absolutely. We still have the whole War in Rohan Battle Company Season 2 planned. We just have to wait for COVID to die down for that. What ratio of mounted to unmounted do you run? I only run all mounted for Rohan. Probably a dumb question, says Floey, but some of those scenes from the extended edition, I can't remember seeing some of those shots before. Yes, yeah, lots of that is from the extended edition. Oh, David says, I mean for when a mounted model falls. So he's talking about how many dismounts do you take? I try, usually like 30% of your cavalry count is enough, but I usually try and force myself to take a dismount for every model, because I like the hobby challenge, but I haven't got round. Ezekiel says, dang, that took me 20 minutes. You'll never find it. I don't even remember what network it was. Spend one fate to call a heroic charge. That'd be cool. That'd be super cool. Wonder what heroic charge would do. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's that Anglo-Saxon poem. Yeah, thanks, Manny. Brithnoth. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was. Because I researched a fair bit of that stuff for a project. Cool. All right. Well, what I'm going to do now is quickly chuck away these paints, drop the battle report, assemble the Riders of Theoden, and get the boys ready, get the Witch King ready, and we're going to jump into a pretty awesome battle report, which is going to be fantastic. So, I want guys and girls in the chat. You're going to let me know, do you want to be barracking for Theoden? Are you barracking for the Riders of Rohan? Are you on Team Witch King? Let me know, get ready to start barracking, and you guys are going to be controlling these models in our interactive battle report. I will see you guys in probably about 3 minutes once I've got this board back. Back in a sec. Rightio, longest 14 minutes ever. So, we have got here our beautiful little setup. Let's have a look at how that looks on camera. Give you guys a bit of a juicy close-up as well. Good. This is our setup. Looking good, looking good. So we've got here the Pelennor Fields. We're playing on a 2x2 board here, which I've marked out with these little Mordor dice here. And then we've got Theoden, King of the Mark, and 12 Riders of Rohan, forward throwing spears. And then we have 12 Morannon Orcs and an Orc Captain. I think it's an Orc Captain or is it Morannon? It's a Morannon Orc Captain. Cool, so they're rocking that heavy armor. I've got a couple in there with bows just for a little bit of fun. And we've got some two-handed weapons, lots of swords, lots of shields. Now, the aim of the game is Theoden has to kill the Witch King, and the Witch King has to kill Theoden. Now, the Witch King, he doesn't arrive yet, as we talked about before. He will appear on the board, flying in from any board edge of his choosing. At the end of every turn, the evil player rolls a dice and adds the turn number, and once that exceeds 7... Once that exceeds 7, the Witch King arrives the next turn. So that's at the end of each game. And the Witch King can charge in the turn he arrives, right? Oh god, you guys can't bloody hear me. What is my microphone doing over there? Sorry dudes, sound will be better from now. The King of the Rohan. So, King Theoden, every single time he slays a model, he can get a point of might, will, or fate back, which is absolutely insane. Let me know if the sound sounds better now. I was just being an idiot and had the mic pointing off towards the thing, so I was moving the camera. Nice. So, happy with that? Happy with sound there, guys? So, who is keen? Let's have a quick look at the chat. Who is keen to be in charge of King Theoden, the Witch King? Are we on Team Orcs? Let me know. Let's go and join back in. People are very excited for the well. Wax stop. Oh dear me. Liam says I'm Team Whack King. He's definitely gonna mince Theoden. The Witch King has become the Whack King. Remember, he's an Australian. He'd have only been on an Aussie show. That's very true. Oh god, you guys are still looking for this thing. Why did I even mention it? Sorry guys, but I'm on team This Is My Hour, says James. Says Jazz, sorry. Lots of Theoden. Okay, we've got lots of people on Team Theoden. Excellent work. Team Leyden. Well, okay, good. Sound is good. All right, let's get some dice rolling. Let's swing out. I think that angle's quite nice. No, we want to see the juicy flames. We'll start out wide for a little bit, so we can get a bit of scope of the battlefield, and we'll keep our dice tray here for the time being. That's pretty good on camera. So now remember, Rohan have no +1 strength on the charge. There's no army bonuses here, so we're only strength 3, which means we're wounding these defense 6 Morannons, or the ones who have shields, on 6s, which is going to be big. So Theoden's going to be important. Let's see who has priority for the first turn. It goes to Rohan, which is probably not what Rohan wanted, because now they will have to charge and make a counter charge. There ain't going to be any, holding back. Oh, hang on a minute. I've deployed these wrong. 6 inches. They're all supposed to be within charge range. We'll allow it. We'll allow it. I can measure. Quick, rapid redeployment. And now I'm pulling the riders off their horses. It's a killer start, Lucky. Killer start. Okay, so let's just make some charges here, I think. I think what I'm going to do with Theoden is I think we'll fire him up the flank so that there's less chance for him to be countercharged. And then let's just get these boys in. We've got a beeline on the captain here. And now we need to get these throwing spears in. This guy's going to throw on in. He needs a 4 to hit on the way in. Oh, whoops, that's my marker. He hits on a 5, needing a 6 to wound the Morannon. Inside the box is good. He gets a 1, no luck there, and he'll just go in and make the charge, pairing that model off. We'll get in the next throwing spear lad. He goes in. 1 dice. He misses. We've got 1 more throwing spear here. He'll chuck a spear. He hits. He kills him! Down goes a Morannon Orc. Fantastic work. The first casualty. I mean, all of these, and we'll just keep pushing in with him, and what we'll do is we'll wrap. We'll just chuck him in like that. Oh, actually, he's got a control zone now, so we'll have to engage him. So then we'll just throw this model in there. And now we've basically engaged everyone we can with the riders. So we need to just start sending these up around the flanks. Because we've got these orc huts here, which are making a bit of a cheeky thing. I'm going to stay out of 6 inches of that orc so that they can't wrap around and charge. 3 inches? No, they won't be able to get around. And what I'll do is I'll send some guys up the flanks, because we want to start getting behind them. Especially see if we can use these bows. I'll send a couple that way. We'll have a couple here saved for a counter charge, and we'll send this guy right up around the flank. Can we get Lord of the West orcs? I wish. Team Theoden, Ezekiel, it is none of those shows. You're never going to guess it. Alright, so we need to throw in our supports. Now, orcs, we've got our first question. Obviously, we want to soften up Theoden. Do we focus on just busting open these riders, throwing all the supports there, or do we support the captain? Do we support the captain and try and get off a heroic combat into Theoden? We do have options here. I think we've got 2 orcs here that have swords and shields, so they're not going to be able to support. So I think they're just going to come and block up this gap and protect the flank. And then we've got these little spearmen here. So I think we put 1 on the captain. And let's throw... Yeah, we'll start to... I think we've got to chuck at least 1 on Theoden to make his life a bit more difficult. And then we'll chuck a spear support. Chuck a spear support here. Now, who's got priority? Rohan have priority. So there's not going to be any shooting because we're full moved. I think the orc player's got to call a heroic combat here. Because if he can get in, he's going to get a trap on Theoden. So, let's zoom in and we'll have a look at this. So right here, we've got the orc captain supported, finding this 1 Rider of Rohan. The Rohan player with priority is going to separate those so that it's not 4 on him, because then the heroic combat will be guaranteed to go off. So he's going to call a heroic combat. If that rider dies, the captain is going to be able to get in and around and trap Theoden. So I think what's going to happen is Theoden's going to call a heroic combat in response to try and trigger his move off first. Oh, but the odds of him killing both of those models are... Oh, I don't think they're that unlikely. They're defense 4 orcs. He'd be wounding them on 4s. Yeah, let's do that. So, a roll-off for the heroic move. Who is it going to? Well, we need to put the dice somewhere that can be seen. There we go. Oh, it's going to the orcs. So the orcs are going off first. So there is the orc captain. He's got 2 attacks. And I think he's gonna piercing strike as well. And then we've got the spear support. And then the Rider of Rohan on the charge. Oh, big 6s for the orc captains. Obviously, I do have the same fight value here, but it doesn't matter because we're not tied. So big 6s. Oh, Theoden's buff's not managing to do the work there. So this cavalry will go back. The orc captain goes up to strength 5, which means he's wounding him on 4s, and it will be 5s for the orc at the back. Wow, savage. He gets killed 3 times over. What a play by the orc captain. And now look at this. Theoden is now trapped and facing a lot of attacks. Alright, well, let's go to the next heroic combat. This could be Theoden dead in the first turn, just quietly. This is really bad. Alright. The orc captain has 2 attacks. He's going to piercing strike again. And the 4 orcs. He will do it that way. There we go. Alright, Theoden absolutely needs to roll a 6 here. Absolutely needs to roll a 6, or at the very least a 4. He has rolled the 6, even though the orc has... Look at all those attacks, and Theoden buffs them off. So his heroic combat isn't going to go off, because he's not going to be able to kill this many models. But all of these models are now knocked prone, and I think what we're going to do... Let's kill a few models, right? Because every time we kill a warrior model, we can get points back. So, killing the orc archer, needing 4s. Okay, so that orc archer is dead, and Theoden is now back up to full might. Let's strike on... Maybe I should drop attacks into the captain. Nah, I'm not worried about it. Let's just kill warriors. Into the other orc archer. I've killed him. So unfortunately, might I couldn't even spend it and get it back. And then I'll go into the other orc with shield, needing 5s for him. So what I'll do is I'll spend a point of might to make that a 5, and then I'll kill him and get the might back. Boom! Alright. So, Theoden kills 3, but not the captain, so his heroic combat doesn't go off. And now we'll just fight the fights as normal. Oh, of course spear supports can't move on. What the hell am I doing? What on earth am I doing? You're right, he was a spear support, not in base contact. In that case, we'll put those last 2 attacks on the orc captain. Oh, that changes things. 2 attacks on the orc captain. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Okay, so Theoden is strength 4. The Morannon orc captain would be D7. So that is 6s to wound. But if Theoden spends 2 might points to turn those into 6s, the orc captain has to take a fate point. Let's do it. Risk it for the biscuit. He passes the fate. Okay, so the orc captain has 1 might, no fate, 1 wound, and Theoden is down to 1 might left because he got all that other might back from fighting against the 2 warriors. So I've still got some might on Theoden, but I've managed to really hurt the orc captain there as well. Lucky for the orcs. All right, let's move into the normal fights. We've got a 3-on-1 here against this poor Rider of Rohan. He's got 5s. It's tied, but the Warrior of Rohan will have the higher fight value because he's in range of Theoden. So those 2 models are knocked prone. So a strike on the first, needing 6s at strength 3. Down he goes. Geez, models are dying quick. And on the other one, he doesn't wound him, so they just back away and they're knocked over. Smeagol says, does Theoden have 3 attacks base for this scenario? No, but he charged, so that's why he's got 3 attacks at the moment. He's got 2 attacks base. But I was rolling the double strikes, 2 dice for each strike because those models were prone. Let's move on to the next one. It's a 1-on-1. 1 orc who is going to shield, fighting against a Rider of Rohan. Whoop. Rider of Rohan gets the 6 and wins it on fight value. He'll need 6s to wound him, though. Oh my god, I cannot keep them in the box. Cannot keep them in the box. 6s to wound him. Another 6 for the Riders of Rohan. These orcs are getting crushed. Absolutely crushed. Okay, 2 Riders of Rohan fighting 1 orc with a 2-handed weapon. He's just going to 2-hand. Why not? Oh, man. The Riders roll 4 high. The orc rolls a 5, which goes down to a 4. And the Riders win on fight value. Just cruel. And they get him on 5s. He'd be defense 5 because he doesn't have a shield, so yep, he's dead as well. The orcs are capitulating. 6 orcs dead already for 1 Rider of Rohan. Oh dear me, dear me. Where's our girl Eowyn, says Leo. Well, this scenario doesn't include Eowyn. However, what we could do is we could do like a little follow-on, potentially. I've got Eowyn in the box just over there. We'll see what happens with the Witch King and Theoden. If the Witch King wins, maybe Eowyn will ride on for some vengeance. Yeah, no, we're playing all sorts of madness today. We've got Morannon orcs with 2-handed weapons, orcs with bows. We're going crazy. We're going crazy. Let's go for. That's it for combats. Let's jump into priority. Oh, a big win for the Rohan there. However, I think this orc captain probably knows that he's going to die, so I think he's going to spend a point of might to call a heroic move, because that's going to catch his 4 remaining orcs on this flank. Otherwise, they're all dead. He's got to take the charge. So I think Theoden will spend his last point of might to do a roll-off. Let's see if it goes evil's way again. It does not. A big swing goes to the forces of good. So, who's in range of Theoden's heroic move? Well, it doesn't actually. Well, it sort of matters, I guess, because we've got to keep them in that same formation. So, Theoden will charge the captain to negate that move. Oh, also, we didn't check if the Witch King was coming on at the end of last turn. Alright, so we add the turn number, which was 1, plus this d6, and if we get 7, the Witch King arrives. So he could arrive this turn on the roll of a 6. We should roll this with an evil dice. No, he does not arrive. The Witch King is still fighting Gandalf. So, we're just going to ride around. Throwing spear for this Rider of Rohan. He hits. He wounds. My goodness, the Rohan are on fire today. And he'll ride around and engage him. He'll throw a throwing spear into that one. He hits. He doesn't wound. I would have lost my marbles then, if that had happened. So these guys will need... That guy needs to finish within 6 of Theoden, so he'll just ride over there and make a charge. He'll just ride over there and make a charge. I'm going to move this guy here and start getting some dudes protecting Theoden from the Witch King. And then these guys will all just make charges. This guy will ride around and throw a spear. He misses. That guy will engage, and then this guy will just ride back to the middle. Wow, the orcs are in serious trouble. Serious trouble. Okay, well, there's no shooting once again, and there'll be no heroic combats. Let's just go left to right. This is a messed up scenario for the forces of evil. All right, this orc here. I don't think there's any point in shielding. Oh, maybe he should, because every turn he survives a bit longer. Oh, this is just so rough for the orcs. No, we're just going to fight normally. He wins it! The horse rolls Snake Eyes, and on a 5, he'll hack him from the saddle. Oh, look at that! Some vengeance! What a brave orc. This flank's looking better for the orcs now. Another one-on-one will do the exact same thing, except we'll stab. Oh, the Rohan warrior gets it. Fails to kill him with the wounding, but the stabbing kills him. Oh, no. Oh, I shouldn't have stabbed. Alright, we've got 2 Riders of Rohan fighting 1 orc over here. Wow, the orcs got it on a 6. They only rolled 4 high. He buffs them back, and he'll need another 5 to kill another one, hacking them from the saddle. No luck there, that's a shame. Oh, yes, he rolled a 1. Reroll on stab. Gets the 6. Another Rider of Rohan falls. Couple of good kills there for the orcs. That's not too bad. We've got the same situation again. 1 orc fighting 2 Riders of Rohan. The orcs don't have it this time. And a single 6 and this guy goes down. There he goes. So it's been 2 orcs for 2 riders this turn. The orcs would probably be happy with that. Another orc on rider up the back here. It's tied, but the Rider of Rohan charged, so he'll have the fight value. Double strikes. And that's not enough. That's not enough. He survives. The defense 6 of the Morannon orcs saving him there. Alright, 1 big fight left. Theoden on the charge has 3 attacks, and 2 Riders of Rohan have 4 attacks, and then 1 orc captain who has 2 attacks, and I think he's going to shield. Alright, Theoden's got the fight value. Let's see if he can do it. Oh, they've got the 6s. Alright, Theoden is strength 4, so he will need 6s to wound. Actually, it's 6s for everyone, because there's no charging bonus. And they've got 1, 2, 3 wounds, and 1 of them is Theoden, importantly. So the captain dies, and Theoden gets a might point back. There are 3 orcs left on the battlefield. 3 orcs left on the battlefield. Oh, dear me. Alright. Let's see if the Witch King arrives. I think he's got to. Oh, he does arrive! 5 plus 2. The Witch King is moving in this turn. Here we go. Okay. So, who's got priority? This is a good one for evil to win. And they've got it. But, Theoden has a might point. Now, see, the thing is, Theoden's burned all his might, but there's not that many enemies for him to fight. And we need him to get might for heroic strikes. So, I don't think Theoden's going to call a heroic move. I don't think he is. So, in that case, it's not like the orcs can do anything about it. Oh no, because the evil player will be able to... Oh. Interesting. No matter what happens, if I call the heroic move, I'll get to move first, and then evil can charge. So, the Witch King has a range of 12 inches, so he's easily going to be able to make a charge on Theoden. Oh, this is a tricky one. Let's think, guys. So, should we call a heroic move with Theoden, because then we'll be able to sort of line up a series of defenders around him. That's probably a worthwhile benefit, actually. The irony is, I don't think he can actually make a charge, though. They know the Witch King... Yeah, because... Okay, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go for the rule of theme. Theoden has seen the Witch King coming, and he is screaming out, "Rally to me! To me!" So he's going to call a heroic move, which Evil can't do anything about because the Witch King's not on the board. Now, he has to move first. Oh, actually, there is... Yeah, there is an enemy he can get in. So he's going to charge this guy. And then this model is going to charge this guy. Get all these charges off. And then we're just going to create, like, some sort of protective buffer around Theoden, hopefully. Try and keep the Witch King away for, like, at least a turn. I don't actually think we have enough models to keep him fully away, unfortunately. I think he's going to be able to heroic combat in somehow. It's, yeah. So we might as well make the charges and brace for it. And this guy will make the charge on that final orc. Alright, so the only evil movement is the Witch King coming in, and he is going to fly in, and you can bloody bet he's going to cast Black Dart on Theoden's horse. He's definitely going to do it. Sam says, Lockie, please notice Ezekiel's efforts. I'll have to go back through in a sec. So, the Witch King is going to drop 2 will on Black Dart, targeting Snowmane. I've got the casting reroll from the Witch King's Crown. It misses. I've only got 4s. I need to get that Black Dart off on a 5. That takes the Witch King down to 10 will. I could burn a might to make it come off, but it's probably pretty unlikely, so I don't think I will. So the Witch King has spent 2 might, or the Whack King, as I should say, and now he's going to come in and fly, and he can fly over these control zones, and he's going to engage with this model. Oh, I could get a hurl off here pretty nicely. I think we'll do that, actually. I think we'll do that. That's going to make it much more interesting. I think we'll go like that. Alright, so the Witch King's in. Let's do our normal combats. Who's got priority? I think the Witch King will have to call a heroic move. A heroic combat, sorry, to get the hurl off, so that he acts first. Oh no, Evil has priority. What am I talking about? Because they hadn't called a heroic move, which is perfect. So, Witch King's going to fight normally. Witch King has 4 attacks on the charge. Crown of Morgul plus Monstrous Charge. And this poor Rider of Rohan has a single attack. He has not started well, rolling a 1, and the Witch King absolutely annihilates him. He's going to elect to hurl. So he will throw this model D3 inches, which is 2, plus the difference in strength. So strength 6 on the Fell Beast and strength 3, so that is going 5 inches. So this rider, a straight line is passing 5 inches. Now I think you only throw an infantry model, but it doesn't matter. So all 4 of these riders, including Theoden, are going to be knocked prone. Now they count, when a cavalry model gets knocked prone, they count as rolling the knocked flying result. So they will all suffer a strength 3 hit, and they all suffer a strength 3 hit from being knocked over from hurl. I think that's right. It's been a long time since I hurled anybody. I haven't been playing Fell Beasts or Trolls for ages. Ugh, let's get this right. Hurl is so finicky and it changed, so I don't want to mess it up. Monsters, did I go past monsters? Yeah, I did. Monsters. Burly, special rules, magical powers, hurl, here we go. D3, difference in strength, imaginary line. Alright, all models passed underneath suffer 1 strength 3 hit. Cavalry models suffer the hit on the rider and the mount. If they survive, they are knocked prone. Cool, so that's fine. So let's do those first. So a strength 3 hit each on that Rider of Rohan. He dies. On the second Rider of Rohan, he dies. On the third Rider of Rohan, He survives, but will be knocked prone. We'll chuck in a warrior for him. And Theoden himself takes a wound. That is huge. Fate point for Theoden. The fate is failed. So Theoden is on 1 wound, no fate. Does the orc die? He will just take the 1 strength 3 hit. He does not die. So Theoden has been knocked off Snowmane. And is prone in combat with another prone orc. This is absolutely huge. Oh, dear me. Dear me, dear me, dear me. Ugh, dear me. So, the Witch King didn't call a heroic combat. Which in hindsight he probably should have done. Because then he could have charged Theoden. No, I think that was the whole point, wasn't it? Yes. Let's make sure that we've done all of the rest of the hurls. Now, where would that model have finished? That's the full distance, 5 inches. Yes, it wouldn't have, it just misses this combat. So Expert Rider, they get the bonus of being able to re-roll 1 when they roll it on the table. But when you get knocked prone, you automatically count as having rolled 1, so you don't get to make use of Expert Rider from the knocking from prone. When you get knocked prone, automatically. So that doesn't help them then. Now I'm just losing my mind here. There's not, yes, the only restriction is a monster cannot use the barge brutal power attack in the same turn it participates in a heroic combat. So the Witch King's heroic combat after hurling is totally fine, and he flies in to Theoden. So the Witch King is now in combat with Theoden, who is prone. He will pair off against Theoden, and it's going to be a 1-on-1 to decide whether or not Theoden... Well, the Witch King certainly ain't going to die this turn, because Theoden's on his ass. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, let's have a look at this next combat over here. We'll finish off the boring ones. This Rider of Rohan has charged the Orc Warrior. The Rider of Rohan wins, needing 6s. Doesn't finish him off. And then 2 Riders charge this single Orc Warrior over here. Whoop. The Riders of Rohan have got it, and they need 6s. But that one is finished off. We've got the 2 Orcs and the Rider of Rohan fighting each other. They're both going to fight normally. Oh, they both roll 6s, and it's a tied fight. It goes to the Orc, so the Rider of Rohan is still prone, and the Orc will stand up. And now we have the fight to end them all. 4 attacks for the Witch King. He's got Monstrous Charge, so he's 3 attacks plus 1 on the charge. Theoden has 2 attacks, but you can bloody better believe that Theoden's going to shield. So Theoden has 4 attacks as well. Theoden has no might. The Witch King has 2 might, because he hasn't spent any of his. If the Witch King rolls a 6, Theoden's probably dead. Let's see what Theoden rolls first. Let's see what Theoden rolls. Oh my god, Theoden has rolled 3 high. He's absolutely cooked. Oh, the Witch King's only rolled 3 high! No way! What a missed opportunity for Theoden. He could absolutely have survived that if he hadn't rolled well. I just rolled 8 dice and only got 3 as the highest result. That's absolutely insane. Look at that. All Theoden had to do was do that roll instead, and he would have beaten off the Witch King. But not to be. That's quite themey and appropriate. He didn't put up much of a fight at all. So the Witch King wins on fight value, and now gets the opportunity to just strike as normal. He can't rend because he's already used the brutal power attack, so he has to fight with strength 6, I think, or a Felby strength 7. I don't remember. Anyone in the chat? What's the Fell Beast? Oh, actually, it'd be under mounts in this book, which is probably quicker than getting out the other book. Cavalry mounts. Here we go. Well, of course, they don't list the Fell Beast as a mount. I think it's only strength 6. Oh no, I mean the good guys. We want evil. Who's the first one to get a Fell Beast? One more page, I believe. Angmar. No. Here we go. See page 114 for the Fell Beast profile. What? That's a lie. Oh, 149. Put it in 50 different places, why don't you? Alright, here we go. Fell Beast. Strength 6. Kaboom. So, Strength 6, Defense 7. The Witch King needs 5s. A single 5 here will mean that the Theoden is dead. And, of course, he's got 2 points of might. So, really a single 3. Ooh, it wasn't the best roll, but he deals a single wound to Theoden. And Theoden is finished. Well, there we go. Theoden absolutely annihilated by the Witch King. Very themey, very thematic. The orcs got rinsed. So that was pretty much the perfect themey result. However, there is one more themey thing we could do. And we could continue the story. Maybe a certain someone comes screaming onto the battlefield just over here. But you guys might not have noticed, but these two here, this fallen over rider, it's actually Dernhelm and Merry. Damn it, I just saw them. Where are they? Aha! Success! I have Eowyn, found on short notice, and I'm sure Merry's here somewhere too. I just saw him. Didn't I have him out for the... Yep, there we go. That'll do. I think Merry's buried, so Frodo is going to be Merry for today. Alright. Merry and Eowyn, here they come. Alright, so what we're going to do is that we're going to place them in combat with the Witch King. And we'll give them the charge. So let's give good priority this turn, and we'll give them the automatic charge. And we'll let them 1v1. The rest of the remaining riders are too stunned to act against the Witch King, so we'll just sort of pair them up. They're shocked that the king has been killed, and we'll jump into priority. So, into combat. Let's do these normal combats. The Witch King doesn't get a chance to cast any magic, so this Rider of Rohan has got the charge on this orc. Let's see if he can finish him off this time. Oh, the orc beats him back with a strong 6. Doesn't hack him from the saddle. And then 2 riders fighting down the final orc. They've got it on 5s, and they'll need 6s. Oh, he survives 8 attacks. That orc is still good to go. Alright, now the big one. The Witch King, who hasn't charged, has 3 attacks. Eowyn and Merry. Now, you can bloody bet that everyone is heroic striking. So 1 point of might for all of them. Let's do the 3 heroic strikes. Heroic strike for the Witch King. Ooh, the Witch King only goes up to fight 6. That's really big. That's really big. Now, Eowyn. Eowyn goes to fight 7. Kaboom, that's enough. And then Merry. Oh, whoa. Merry just goes to fight 9. They have absolutely got it. Absolutely got it. That's Merry's might out and one of Eowyn's might out. And now it's time to roll the dice. Oh, they've got it. They've got it. So it's 5 high. 5 high. It's a tied fight, but obviously they win with the heroic strike result. However, there's might in the fight, right? Eowyn has 1 might left, and the Witch King has 1 might left. The Witch King could spend it now to try and sap Eowyn's might, and then they would be on level pegging forevermore. Because obviously Eowyn will spend back the same. So I think that's what's going to happen. The Witch King is going to spend it to make his roll a 6. Eowyn will do the same. Luckily, it's her dice roll and not Merry's. And the fight is tied, which means it goes to Eowyn and Merry, and now they have a chance to strike at the Witch King. Merry has 1 attack. Eowyn has 2 attacks. They are both strength 3, and he is defense 8, which means they need 6s by 4s. 6s by 4s, strength 3, defense 8. I don't think it's 5s. No, because that's the difference with Army of the Dead. Yeah. So if we just grab the wound chart, which is of course the other way. Strength 3, 6s by 4s. Come on, guys. Big sixes here. Big sixes here. Nothing. Alright. Priority. Ooh, it's tied. So it swings back to good because evil had it in the turn before when we rolled it. The Witch King's now out of might. That's absolutely massive. I think if we're going to give Mary and Eowyn a chance, we actually have to give them some extra attacks because these guys are doing absolutely not a lot. Not a lot, shall we say. So we're gonna stack the Witch King with Riders of Rohan now. We want vengeance. That rider's gonna throw a spear. He hits. And he kills it. Fantastic job. Annihilates that orc. In that case, he'll ride around and get in the fight as well. And then this final guy will get a spear to the face from this warrior. No. Okay, so let's do the last fight against the orcs. We've got one Rider of Rohan and a normal warrior. They roll 6 high, but there's no Theoden, so the orc could tie it. He doesn't, and they'll be taking double strikes. Finally, the last orc is gone. So all orcs on the battlefield are gone. And now we, Oh my god, that's very true! Of course! If we just whip open Theoden, if we just whip open Eowyn's profile, I'm so used to using Dernhelm, Harry, that I never have to worry about that. Oh, dear me, dear me, dear me. Of course, this was the moment it was all made for. He's furiously flicking through the books. Where the hell is Eowyn's profile? Eowyn, where are you? Jeez, she's very close. I shall kill you if you touch him. If Theoden is in your force, place a 25mm marker where he fell. Eowyn must move directly toward this marker, blah 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 blah. Additionally, while within 3 inches of the marker, Eowyn becomes fearless and must re-roll any failed to wound rolls. In addition, she receives a +1 to wound when making strikes against the model that slew Theoden. Eowyn rolled a 5, which becomes a 6, and we will get to re-roll her other result, which is a 5, which becomes a 6. So Eowyn actually scored 2 wounds last turn on the Witch King. Harry, that is huge! Oh, Battle Streams in Middle-earth, it's not Harry! That's Battle Games in Middle-earth. Oh my god, you guys and your names. So, is that Steve or Damien? Which channel are we joining us with now? Well, that is 2 wounds on the Witch King. We might not even need this turn's combat. He has got 2 fate points and no might. I kind of want him to survive, just for one more go at that. Here we go. 4's up for the Witch King. Come on, you can do it, dude. Oh, the Witch King dies! Wow! That made a huge difference! 1 turn. Eowyn and Merry run on and annihilate the Witch King in 1 turn. That could not have been more thematic. Could not have been more thematic. Battle Streams, it's Damien. Steve's on wedding anniversary duties tonight. Well, I suppose that's okay. Okay, so someone is talking about a list. That was a phenomenal outcome. Theoden annihilated by the Witch King, and then Merry and Eowyn putting the Witch King to the sword. Good, what a nice themey outcome. Dope battle report. Alright, let me jump into the chat, because you guys have been begging me for something. I'll swing the mic around and get back in my chair. Okay. Where is the list? List. Okay, I tell you what. You guys posted further down because I can't find it. It's buried in the chat. I presume this is the list of what TV show I was on a child. Okay, here we go. 1050. Oh my god, it's a big list. It's a big list. See, the thing is, I don't actually remember what the hell it was called, which might make interpreting this different, but I'll see if any of these names jog my memory. Okay, so I'm starting at the top here at 1049, Ezekiel. Lab Rats Challenge, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? Go Lingo, The Great Australian Spelling Bee, Australia's Brainiest Kid, Letterbox, Little Aussie Battlers, Big Square Eye, Bindy's Boot Camp, Blockbusters, Match It, Matchmates, Mind Twist, Move It, Child's Play, Download, Pyramid, Sharky's Friend. None of this is Oh, no, that's not it. This is from a list of all Aussie Kids game shows that aired in the 90s and early 2000s. No, I don't think that was any of them. I can't even remember what it's called now. But yes, you'll have to keep digging. I mean, honestly, there'd be no way to find it, even if it was recorded. For those of you who've just joined us, have no idea what is being talked about. Somehow I let slip that in the late 90s I was on a children's television show as a contestant. I wanted to be a child actor or something because I like James Bond movies. And so, I had like one appearance on TV in some game show, and I can't even remember what it was called, and the guys are trying to jog my memory and see if they can find it, but no luck there, I'm afraid. Alright, what an epic battle report, that was fantastic. I'm going to quickly swing the camera around, we're going to grab the giveaway wheel, and we're going to find out which one of our lucky Patreons... sorry, out of breath. Which one of our lucky Patreons will be taking home or becoming the official sponsor of our 6 Riders of Rohan who just annihilated some orcs on the fields of the Pelennor. Alright, we are back. It is wheel spinning time. We've got the giveaway of the century, our 6 Riders of Rohan, who just did some amazing work murdering orcs. And yeah, it was a pretty good fitting end to the scenario. Theoden getting annihilated first turn by the Witch King, and then, yeah, Aeon and Mary showing that those special rules do exactly as they're intended. Now, as requested... Oh, there's double echo. Why can you hear me twice? Oh yeah, my bad. Shush. Hey! Did that work? No? Brilliant. How do I get rid of that? What the hell? Uno momento por favor, people. Audio settings. How do I turn this off? Can you hear me now? Ah, sod this. Oh, there we go. Got rid of it. Alright, sorry. There you go. Nice crisp sound now. Okay, as requested by the viewers, we have an amazing guest called Hazel's Hand coming to spin the wheel. So, you ready, honey? Gonna do a big spin? 1, 2, 3! Alright, who is... Well, first we have to pick the quadrant. We are landing in quadrant 11. So, the potentials, let's read through the potentials today. They could be Kel Runya, Riley Prescott, Chachi Romero, Daniel Mackay, Russell Priest, Stuart Richards, Nathaniel Brumbar, Adsfo, Kenny McTavish, Tim Hazelkamp, and Hans Kavadish. Alright, let me grab our dice, and we will roll that up. Thank you very much for your assistance rolling, buddies. No, we need the D20, because there's lots more people than a D6. Alright, let's count out our numbers. How many have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a cat has just dangerously got into the room. Hopefully she doesn't... Oh well, we'll survive. Alright, so there are 11 of us. Let's get that camera panning down. We do not have a lot of space today. Alright, we're looking for a number between 1 and 11. And it is number 12. Alright, we'll go again. Number 14. Number 3! And panning back up to Bay 11. Number 3 is Chachi Romero. You are now the official sponsors of the Riders of Rohan. Alright, let's get that bad boy out of the way. Well done, Chachi Romero. Bad luck to everyone else. Next time. You can see the chaos and mess that is the studio now. And yes, I do look like Where's Wally because I'm in my pajamas and forgot to take them off. That's a running theme with the latest uploads. Just wait till you see the battle report. But yes, that was good fun. Let me swing back over into the chat. Huh. What an absolute mess that was. Alright, we got the hands, and Hazel's trying to get back in. She wants the wheel. Hang on, I'll give her the wheel. Here you go, honey. Take the wheel. Go spin the wheel. Good girl. Mum. Alright, let me leap back into the chat. Could have spun a 14. Yeah, it was close. It was close. I think you were on there, Kenny. I think you were in that bay. Larissa?
I don't know if you've noticed.
We're getting attacked.
She's very fast.
Sorry, guys. Hazel's like, no, I want to be on the stream more. She's an addict already. Alright, cool. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. She's literally banging on the door. That was good fun. What are we doing next week? So, issue 14 we just dove through with our Riders of Rohan. And now we have issue number 15 up next. Look at that. It's at the front of the book. How easy is that? And that is a pretty interesting issue. Saruman. We are diving into some more magic. And we've got some pretty epic action here. We're learning about Saruman, get some juicy stuff, a little bit more in-depth on Saruman and Gandalf. And then we have a pretty cool scenario, the Gap of Rohan, where essentially we're getting some fellowship action, some Urukai, some goblins. Saruman is, you know, I think it's like a what-if scenario, as if they did try to make the Gap of Rohan instead of going through the Mines of Moria, which are always fun, kind of reaching for these bizarre scenarios when they're trying to make cool stuff out of all the bits and pieces that they have available. So it should be a pretty fun, kooky scenario. We'll get some stream action. There's another river involved, so it should be good fun. But thank you so much to everyone for joining me. That was a really, really fun stream. I really enjoyed doing the Pelennor Fields stuff too. And oh my goodness, Rengus, there's a late one this time, 3:30 from the Netherlands. Thank you so much for watching for so long. Oh yeah. Oh, you guys want to know what quadrant you're on? Maybe what I should do, I've got to update the wheel because it's getting a bit small now for the names. So what I'll do is I'll post up like a photo or something, or maybe I'll put it on the Patreon page so that all the patrons can log in and see what. Like where they are. I'll work something out so you guys know what quadrant you're kind of hoping for. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Bad luck on working out at my TV child acting career. Maybe we'll work that out next time. We'll have to find out. I will see you guys next time right here. Where's my screen? That's the one I want. On Zorpazorp Gaming. Cheers, guys.